Do not adjust your radio dial. You are tuned in to the Mark Order Podcast. Join the Mark Order.
Yo. Wednesday night, you know what that means. Time for the Mark Order Podcast. Here on the Shining Wizards Network. Guys, it's episode 51. 51. 51. And I think I said it last week. I told everybody to enjoy it while it lasted. Because the four people of the Mark Order Apocalypse can't seem to keep it together long enough to stay on the air. And we're back down to the top three of the Mark Order Podcast. I don't remember what name I came up for us, but we'll just call ourselves the top three.
The Holy Mark Order Trinity.
Oh, that's right. Didn't I come up with the Holy Trinity of the Mark Order Triumvirate?
I think so.
Something stupid.
If that's not what it was, it is what it is now, my friend.
Well, there you go. I have to go back because I definitely titled one of the three-man shows something like that, like the Holy Triumvirate or the Trinity or something. I like the Triumvirate better.
It's better, and it's not as sacrilegious.
I guess not. So it's AntMoney here for you on a Wednesday night. Kate the Great is here with us this week, not sounding like a robot, so that's good. Ryan Schlong has got it going on.
And I found the name.
What was it?
It was episode 36, and you called it the Mark Order Triumvirate.
See, I knew I'd do something like that.
In the brain head, my friend.
It was way back in the back of my brain as I'm losing the words. Well, folks, it's lovely to have y'all here. If you're here looking for Matt, then sucks to be you. Just because you're looking for Matt, not just because he's not terrible.
Here. You did something wrong in your life.
I don't know what you're doing.
If you're not Rhiannon and you're looking for Matt, something went wrong.
There's something went wrong there anyway, but
that is true. Yeah, he's definitely out of his league. So
remind me, wasn't there a shitty faction in the E? Was somebody called Slapjack?
Retribution.
Was there a Slapjack in Retribution?
Slapjack in Retribution.
Well, the Mark Order Retribution Sleepjack is not here tonight. In all truthfulness, we won't throw him under the bus too hard tonight. Matt is working a night event, and then he has to get up at 5 a.m. to do another event and go straight to a noon event. So sucks to be Matt right now. But hey, that's St. Patrick's Day. Hey, Aaron Gobralis.
Heyo!
Wasn't that a Michael Scott?
It had to have been, right?
I don't know why that would stick in my brain.
Because Aaron Gobra.
Yeah.
My goodness.
It's St. Patrick's Eve, so make sure you're leaving your best stout on the table for the leprechauns tonight. As they leave you some gold or something. I don't know. I don't celebrate this holiday, so somebody'd have to tell me. Is that what you do?
You nailed it. You leave a stout out for the leprechauns who come into your home and leave Lucky Charms and golds and 4-leaf clovers behind. That is how St. Patrick's Day works. So.
Now, here's something for you both. I don't like Lucky Charms. I really don't like any marshmallow cereal.
You don't like hearts, stars, or horseshoes, clovers and blue moons, pots of golden rainbows, and me red balloons?
I would rather have the actual cereal than any of those marshmallows.
What's the matter with you?
Seriously, who hurt you as a child?
I'll tell you why. Because when I was a kid, the first time I had marshmallow cereal, I was expecting mini marshmallows, like the soft mini marshmallows that you would put into, hot chocolate. And I got those freeze-dried turds in the cereal, and it's, I guess, rubbed me the wrong way ever since.
That's what she said.
There you go.
That is a Michael Scott quote.
I celebrate 2 holidays. 4th of July and Yak Shaving Day. So if it's not one of those 2 holidays, I don't know what it is. Nobody got that reference? Nobody? Anybody? Yak Shaving Day?
Nope.
If you get it in the chat, you win. But
what do they win? Day. Free stickers from the Mark Order podcast?
We'll tell you how to get those later. But I will we do have some other stuff to get to before we get to like AEW business tonight. Zachary gets it. Yak Shaving Day. Ren and Stimpy, Asian Joe, he gets it. Thank you.
I was not allowed when
Kyle K. Sparks got it too.
Kyle K. Sparks, I missed it. I'm sorry, Kyle K. Sparks.
And Marky Mark is now getting it. Seems to be people. But I just was not a Ren and Stimpy guy.
I was not allowed to be a Ren and Stimpy gal.
So it looks like Kyle K. Sparks, Zach, Asian Joe, Marky Mark, and I'll give it to Eric F2 coming in a little late, but he gets it. We're gonna have to just do our own Ren and Stimpy podcast.
You win free stickers from the Mark Order podcast.
No. We sent out stickers.
So wait, I got a question here. Kate, Did you go right from like kids cartoons to South Park? Like, was there no intermediate for you?
Correct. It's absolutely ludicrous that I was watching South Park. I would watch with my dad. My mom obviously didn't know like the extent of how bad South Park is. But South Park and BattleBots were on back to back in the OG
I remember that.
But... yeah, but I would watch it with my dad. And if it was like too egregious, my dad would turn it off because he was a responsible-ish parent. But yeah, I wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons, but I was allowed to watch South Park. But it was like a we're not gonna tell my mom, right?
Right. I'll tell you this. I was allowed to watch Ren and Stimpy, and then there was an episode on where Ren's cousin Sven comes, and him and Stimpy are like getting along famously. And there was a board game called Don't Whiz on the Electric Fence. And at the end of this episode, Ren is so angry and says, oh, don't whiz on the electric fence, huh? And he unzips his pants or his fur, and he starts pissing on the electric fence. And you hear it. You hear the pee. And then it zaps him, and they all wind up in hell. And the devil's there, and he goes, so he whizzed on the electric fence, huh? And then that's the end of the episode. My father saw that, stood up, turned off the TV, and said, that's it. No more Ren and Stimpy. That's exactly how it went down, no lie.
I kind of get it.
So, well, Ren and Stimpy was supposed to be an MTV show, and they passed. So, sure, let's put it on Nickelodeon.
If you really think about it, you had on Nickelodeon, had Rocko's Modern Life and Ren and Stimpy. They did not fit.
Rocko's Modern Life is my favorite Nicktoon ever.
It's not an insult, but I'm saying they did not fit the rest of that lineup.
Rocko was
a phone sex operator.
No, he wasn't. At one point, yes, he was doing something to make money, and he was on the line, and he goes, "Oh baby, oh baby, oh baby."
See,
I own the whole box set.
Wasn't Rocko's Modern Life was one of the first like that really genuinely aimed at adults and kids, right? They were the first like we're going over the heads of kids. I know SpongeBob really, really dialed in on it, but like they were.
Mrs. Money gets it.
Weighing in. Because I remember that much. I remember Rocko's Modern Life being something that was like, we're going to pop the grown-ups who are stuck watching this, but the kids, it's going to go over their heads. But like Ren and Stimpy was just like kind of pseudo adult humor, right? Like there was not.
Yeah.
It was just
Yeah,
like not appropriate.
And I believe Chris Mueller's on here. The original 3 Nicktoons, and I don't know how we're on Nicktoons. I'm sorry, but the
I'm
original
okay with it.
Nicktoons were Rugrats, Doug, Ren, and Stimpy. And of all of those, Ren and Stimpy definitely was not for children.
Correct.
100% not for kids. I
Think about that.
even
You
at
have
the end-
Rugrats,
Uh-huh.
and
For
then
kids.
Ren and Stimpy.
And Doug.
Yeah, but I'm even saying like Doug too is very much for kids. I'm not saying it, but like you have a cartoon literally about babies, and then
Yep.
Ren and Stimpy.
Baby's got to do what a baby's got to do.
So true.
I'll say this: looking back at the Nicktoons, there's a clear point where it's like that is beyond me. I don't understand it. People in the chat are talking about Invader Zim, never into it. Cat Dog, that was a later one, never into it. Rocket Power, not into it. Those were
Hey
some
Arnold
of the ones.
was the cornerstone of that. I feel
That's
like,
probably right where I cut off. Hey Arnold, and Hey Arnold is another one. Kate, if you were to go back and watch it, there are definitely some gags for adults that kids wouldn't get.
Grandpa was like a little bit of a
Yeah,
dirty
Yeah,
old
you're that like couple years older than Kate and I that would get you out of Hey Arnold. Like that would be like the cutoff for it.
I still watched it, but that's like the last one.
Yeah.
I even like I was into Ah Real Monsters too, but that's
That's
right
the sleeper pick.
That
It
is the sleeper. Not a cartoon, but do you guys remember Wienerville?
Love Wienerville. Stick Stickly.
American classic.
Remember Stick Stickly, and you could mail him like letters or whatever?
10108. Yeah.
That's right. Every once in a while, I'll catch Mrs. Money singing the Stick Stickly address song. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how we got onto this, but oh yeah, Kate. So Ren and Stimpy fell off there, and then it was like South Park and Beavis and Butthead. I wasn't supposed to watch. I taped them every week. Everybody in my house knew that I taped them, like set the VCR, and for some reason it was okay. And people like my mom bought me like Cartman t-shirts. I remember she bought me a shirt where it was Cartman. Oh, sorry. In his little like muscle tee that said beefcake on it. It's fantastic.
I feel like everyone had one of those or the respect by authority.
Yes.
I remember a lot of those.
I'll go look at season 2 of South Park. That is a murderer's row of episodes.
Oh my god. So good.
You get the Pokemon. I think there's the rainforest one where they go to save the rainforest through the
with
gift.
Sally Struthers.
I don't know if it was Sally Struthers, but they're going to save the gift forest with a gift of song.
That.
Getting gay with kids is here. That's what it was.
Was that the
Getting
one? Was that the one with Marklar?
Kids is here. Marklars? No. That was a little bit later.
That's Sally Struthers is Marklars.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Someone brought up Kyle Sparks brought up Kablam. I do remember.
I was
Kablam.
wanted to reference that. Kablam was great. Kablam is what I still think inspired Robot Chicken.
Yeah, probably. But then they spun some of those off into their own shows and it didn't work. Like the what was the one with the superhero action figures? Worked better as a short form, not a half-hour show.
Oh yeah.
What were they called? I don't remember. It was part of Kablam. But yeah, so Ryan, you're right. Like I'm a little bit older than you guys, but my brother is younger. So a lot of the stuff he was into, I just sat through. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not even dealt with. It was just like, I'm just going to watch it,
Know what's crazy that my sister and I looked back on a few years ago? Remember David the Gnome?
Yes, I watched that every day. It was Tom
intro
Bosley.
To David the Gnome is straight up environmentalist propaganda that they were like pumping into 7-year-olds. It's
well, look where we are now, Kate. It didn't work.
Maybe you shouldn't have used a gnome because it was not very effective. But
he wrote a fox.
He did write a fox.
He wrote a fox. And the bad guys were those like trolls, but if they stayed in the sun, they turned to stone.
That's right. Holy crap. Yeah. Good memory.
And he had those shoes you could climb up the tree with.
That I remember vividly.
Yeah, Ryan, that's
What
definitely.
age was this for?
David the no.
Oh, I was little. My brother wasn't even here yet, and that
Okay.
wasn't a Nicktoon. That was like in the days where Nickelodeon, Mrs. Money has it. He rode Swift the Fox.
Swift the Fox. There you go.
That
That was
Ryan,
more a Lydia vehicle. That was my sister, so it would make sense. So that was a little older.
your sister's older.
She is.
Okay, yeah. So then that would make sense. That checks out. So yeah.
She's a big
So
Captain
Schlong,
Planet gal as well.
Captain
I
Planet.
was a
man.
big Captain Planet boy, and she's older. I had the full Captain Planet outfit with the muscles built in and everything.
He's our hero.
One time in my life, I had a 6-pack.
Gonna take pollution down.
But see, when I was a kid, the show on Nickelodeon that we'd watch that was for kids was Eureka'S Castle.
Oh hell yeah!
That was again one of my brothers because he would watch it all. That was in the midday, and I remember the only time we'd see it is in the summer.
And when you were homesick, that was like my go-to.
Eureka'S Castle, Gullah Gullah Island.
Ugh, Gullah.
I still remember the theme song to that one.
Mid Gullah Gullah Island was mid.
I'm just calling out.
Okay,
Come
mostly I
and
also
let's
want to
play
talk
together
about my
in
nails,
the
but it
bright
is hard.
sunny weather. Let's all go to Gullah Gullah Island. Gullah Gullah Binya Binya. That's all I remember.
Mid. Guys, I got Batman nails. I want
Well,
to talk about my nails.
I don't want to talk about your nails, Kate. I was trying to get to this, and then somehow we got into South Park, and cartoon talk. So let's steer it back.
No.
She wants to talk about her nails for a character that I did not know she enjoyed at all.
She doesn't. She's just into what's going on in the culture.
And the
I
nail.
actually haven't seen the Batman yet. So if you have no spoilers, I'm going to try to see it. I think maybe on a Tuesday.
Well, and I fortunately have to give you one spoiler. His parents die.
Fuck you, Schlong. Why do you love spoiling things?
Sorry, I just thought you should know that.
Rude.
So, Kate, I do want to check in because you did have an event this weekend, didn't you?
I did.
Did you do? Wait, or is that next week? Color commentary.
Oh, I was supposed to do it this weekend, but because Binghamton is a snowy tundra, they got 6 to 10 inches of snow, and I was not able to make it there. But I will be back there next month, April 9th. So my debut postponed, but I will be back. It's
Okay.
So you can't handle 6 to 10 inches.
I can't
That's
take
what
6
we
to
heard.
10 inches.
So, I will say this then. We have until April 9th to work on a new word for Kate to work into commentary.
I was simply bumfuzzled how I was going to do it. Like, I had no idea how I was going to make that happen.
Last one was so last minute, I just wanted to get it established. Now we have time.
Kate, well, first of all, some of those were like we have to do something better than bumfuzzled. But Kate, come on. That's an easy one if you ask me, because something crazy happens and you're like, I am bumfuzzled how he pulled that move off.
That one's not bad. I could have.
Okay. In fairness, though, it was also her first time, so I didn't want to, time give her the insane words.
No. I'm not talking about things that are over the edge, and pushing blue and stuff like that. But I'm just saying things that we would know, just, maybe are a little outside the lines.
But now we have multiple shows. I was just trying to get some established, so we'll take time on this one. And it doesn't have to necessarily be a Twitter. We can think of it and give her a nice fun word.
Eric F wants to know, how do we watch Excite, Kate, when you're back with the promotion?
You can go to twitch.tv/Excite. I think it's Excite Wrestling, but they are on Twitch. I'll have it promoted like crazy the next month. So, but yeah, they have a good little Twitch channel. I was in the chat this time around since I couldn't be there in person, as was Ryan, as were a couple of other people, which was really fun. It was a decent show. I just feel bad because it was like their 10th anniversary show too. And I mean, they got killed on walk up, of course, because it was in a snowstorm. But if you cancel it, then you're screwed. So they were put in a tough spot, but they pulled off a really good show. Tommy Dreamer was there. Friend of the show, LSG, was there against Matt Cross. That was great.
Maybe your friend.
Friend of the show. We all watched baseball together.
Yeah, I guess we
did. That is friendship.
Ryan wasn't there.
Yeah, well, Ryan chooses to opt out of a lot of the shows that we go to.
Thank you.
But
actually, whoa, hold on.
This was that was before your time, Ryan.
Yeah, I wasn't invited to that one. That was pre me. So in your face.
There you go. Ryan's a preemie.
We hardly knew ye at that point, but
You knew me.
I did. But you were just in your infancy as a Mark Order member. You had not earned your number yet. But are you gonna go to WrestlePro? Because I know Mrs. Money's gonna have an interest in going to WrestlePro because a certain abbed man with a nice face is gonna be on that WrestlePro show.
I had two choices for Saturday night. Fuck. Depeche Mode.
That's a good choice.
Fuck is it?
It's a great choice.
Beautiful choice.
I would take that one. Depeche Mode cover band, or Tony Nese Bonerthon at the Rawway Rec Center. So we're going to the Tony Nese Bonerthon. I asked if she was going to take her telephoto lens with her camera. She said, no, I would like to focus.
Coward.
So
I'm surprised she didn't take it, then hand it to you and be like, all right, you take pictures. I'm going to watch.
They would be awful. She's much better than I am.
She did chime in the chat and say boing because she fucking
did.
rules.
This was the exact text to me was Tony Nese Perv Time or Depeche Mode cover band, and I said Tony Nese Perv Time. Well, Friday night we have tickets to Glassjaw and Opening is Folly and Incendiary, so that it's going to be a busy weekend in the Money House. But Friday night's really my thing, and then Saturday night is her thing.
Tony Nese Chippendales night.
Yep. So we will be at WrestlePro. I will be at WrestlePro in Rahway, New Jersey, Saturday. If anybody here is there, please come say hello, because I don't think anybody's going to be there.
I might go.
Kate, please come along.
I will bring my lens to take pictures of your wife watching Tony Nese.
The drool just going down the side. And
the best is that the few times that he's been on Dark and like she's seen it and she's like, oh, well, like, want to watch Dark tonight? I'm like, oh, he's on, right? So we'll put it on, and like, you know, the boy will still be awake, so baby Money's still running around, and all she wants to do is sit and watch Tony Nese in peace and quiet, probably for the spank bank, but all she wants to do is sit and pay attention and watch Tony Nese, and that is the absolute time that baby Money will go and be like, hey, mom. And she's like, please leave me alone. I just want to.
So now she's going to go in person. See them abs up close, baby.
Well, Rawway was the one that was like the initial one that got her hooked, because she had seen him on TV. Like, maybe he wasn't even wrestling when she had seen him on TV. She's like, nothing special, whatever. And then she saw him in Rawway, and it was literally like, it's not even good wrestler. Okay. She does think he's a good wrestler, but it was just like in the cartoons when the wolf's eyes pop out of their head and the tongue rolls out, you know, and they turn into a steam whistle. Yeah. It was just like that. So
she did also say, I will most likely die from the hotness. So just like,
I guess I'll be a widower then. Thanks a lot.
All the best to both of you. I hope she ends up being okay. I hope she comes out the other side of this from all the hotness. We'll have water. We'll bring fans to cool her down.
Woman died in Rawway tonight from what we believe is excess hotness.
From excess heat? Abs. From excess abs came the excessive heat. Yeah.
It was the heat from the abs. Yeah, Kate, we'll be there. I guarantee you, we'll be there in the stands. Every time I'm like, did you get front row seats? She's like, no. Like, those are sold out. I'm like, just get goddamn front seats, man. Like, let's do it.
Get close, man.
And
see
then
those abs glisten up close, G.
And then I'll be like, do you want to meet him? Like, I'll pay. I'll pay for the picture and the meet and greet. And then, oh, no. She gets very starstruck. It's very cute.
That's adorable.
It is.
We know some people at WrestlePro. There might be some strings we can
pull.
To make her blush. a lot.
I mentioned it to one person I know at WrestlePro a couple times, but every time he's like, "Oh, you're going?" I was like, "Never mind." You know who I'm talking about.
I do. And he forgot I was going day of one time and said he would set aside a ticket for me. So that was
Yeah.
a thing.
So. All right. So you'll catch Kate at X site in April. So stay tuned for that. We'll have to figure out a word for her to say. You'll catch me and Mrs. Money at WrestlePro Saturday night.
And you'll catch my nails right now.
All right, Kate. Well,
Cool
you want to talk about your nails, so just
we were
tell
talking
us the
about
story.
cartoons, and they're just Batman nails. And
Why?
They look great.
Why Batman?
Why wouldn't they be Batman nails?
But why would they?
Yeah.
Because I thought they were fun, and I'm not that into the DC Marvel world, but like, if I am into anybody, it's Batman. He's by far the coolest. And I saw them on Pinterest, and they were neat. So I went and got them. And I had a couple designs and I asked Twitter to vote on them. They overwhelmingly voted in a landslide for the ones that I ended up getting. And they came out wonderful.
It's a poser move.
Kind of. I got exposed as a fraud by a little kid there. That was really funny. There was a little kid.
Please tell that story.
Oh my gosh. So I go in. It's a new nail place because my other one shut down during COVID. White girl problems, I know. And there's just this poor Asian lady who I showed the picture to, and she's like, in way over her head, but she puts two and two together that this is like Batman. And this little girl, probably like 9 years old, who is doing homework in the corner, comes over and is like, "You're getting Batman nails?" And I was like, "I am." And she was like, "You like Batman?" And I was like, kind of. Like, I was straight up, wasn't gonna pretend. Like, I was like, I'm not like super into it. And she just exposed me for being a fraud. She knew everything there was to know about Batman. And B, made me feel like an anti-feminist because she started to tell me why I should be getting Wonder Woman nails instead of Batman nails.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, she is going to be president someday and the world will be in a better place. But it was so funny. I was like, I'm not pretending I'm like into this like hardcore. I was like, I just thought the nails looked cool and Batman's kind of cool. But she came correct with her Batman information. But she also thought I was very cool for getting them. And then she just kind of went back to doing her homework. It was really sweet.
Here's a question, Kate. Do you do like polls like what should I do for my nails? Should I do this or should I do that?
Well, yesterday I put one up. But when you do the polls, you can't do pictures. So it wasn't like one of the like percentage votes, but I was like the left or the right. And then people were like overwhelmingly the left one. And I was like, all right. So that's what I did.
Well, next time you do it, we should pick out a theme. You should do something wrestling related.
I had really great, the first time I went on the Jericho cruise, I had the best because I had acrylics. So I got amazing wrestling nails. I had one with a bunch of oranges. I had a champagne bottle for Jericho. I had like a really, really fun one.
Didn't you have an MJF one?
I did. She did an insane Burberry nail. Nice. Holy crap. But we'll do wrestling ones moving forward when I want to get design nails. That'll be fun.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well.
And then you can, because you dabble in the mani-pedi, though not the painting part.
Well, I was when we went to Connecticut a couple weeks ago, I think I mentioned that here. I'd gone to Connecticut for Mrs. Money's birthday a couple weeks ago. And we got pedis because the last few times we were going to get them as a group, we never did. So I just had to do it. I was going to have the lady paint my toes, but I think she looked like, no, like that's a joke. And it never happened. Mrs. Money got hers done. And I was like, I'll do the same thing. And she was like, and it never happened.
No way.
I totally would have. Oh, I wouldn't do my fingernails only because I don't know how that would go over at my government job.
Yeah.
But I've never had a manicure. I certainly could use one though. I have a feeling if they work the magic they do on my toes, my fingers would look amazing.
I'm sure they would.
Anyway, let's shift back to wrestling because I have a feeling we're losing people by the second. So we do have to talk about some big news that happened in the wrestling world. Unfortunate news. We lost Scott Hall. Razor Ramon, for those who don't know, and if you don't know who Scott Hall is, that's your fault. But yeah, unfortunately, Scott Hall broke his hip and had emergency surgery, and during that surgery there were complications that led to 3 heart attacks, and he went on life support and unfortunately did not make it out. So it was quite sad. But you know, I figured maybe we should talk about it because it was big news, and I know for me, I mean, you could see I got Razor hanging up tonight, my chalk line. That was the first chalk line. That's the one that was the tiny bit. That was the key bump that got me in.
The can of worms that
a big one. The closet back here has a number of other stuff hanging up. But you know, I don't know about you guys. I feel like obviously now that he's gone and seeing what he did to sort of help the industry change, right? That's what a lot of people talk about. But man, his days as Razor Ramon, the first ladder match for the Intercontinental title with Shawn Michaels. I mean, that's what I started with. And then when he went to the Outsiders and WCW, that was like gold for me. I mean, I'm interested in seeing where you guys came in on Scott Hall. I mean, Schlong, were you in on Razor Ramon, or was it really with the Outsiders? Because I know you were a firm WCW guy.
No, I wasn't firm. I mean, WCW was the one I would put on first, but I watched the Fed, so I definitely came in on him. He was feuding with 1-2-3 Kid at the time, and had their famous Crybaby match, which I still call a diaper match because that's all that really mattered about that. But so I loved him as Razor. I will say, if you go back and watch around that time period, his major feud was after 1-2-3 Kid was with Goldust. Does not hold up at all. So don't go back and watch that. It's not his fault, but just saying. And then of course when he went to WCW, that's when everything, changed in the wrestling world. And then, following him later in life, how he got himself together, and his story was,
yeah.
It wasn't until I think it was the documentary about him or something told about how he killed that guy outside that nightclub in justifiable self-defense. It's not like really must have taken a toll on him in a way I don't think people wanted to acknowledge, but the situation was forced on him, and he was forced to do something no one should have to do. I'm sure that was a demon he fought for years. So it was pretty impressive. He got his life turned around. So to lose it because of something as stupid as falling and breaking your hip, it's brutal.
Yeah. It's a tragic ending to somebody who worked so hard to come all the way back. Right. And, just sad. I mean, Asian Joe said here he was first introduced to Scott Hall as the Diamond Stud with DDP. I know that existed too, but I think to a lot of people, their first exposure was Razor Ramon, the first big one. Kate, did you come into Scott Hall as Scott Hall or Razor Ramon? Because I know you came in late to wrestling.
Yeah, I didn't really come in until pretty much after he was really done. I started watching in 2009, so I always try to be a student of things. So, like, the weird thing about not watching in real time is you understand his impact on the industry, but it's not the same as if you're watching WCW and WWF in real time, right? Like, such a different thing. But I mean, the industry completely changed because of that. And there's been so many things that have been credited to him. A lot of people say the Bullet Club would never have existed if he didn't do what he did. Like, NWO would not have been cool without him. Like, so many different things. Yeah. I saw Hispanic wrestlers tweeting, like, do you know how cool you have to be to pretend that you're Cuban, and for Cuban people to just be like, it's fine. Like, right. That he was doing this gimmick, which would never happen now, but he really was just so cool. I watched a lot of, there was a really cool docuseries. I don't know if it made it over to the CAC, but it was very, very cool. It was just about NXT. And it was on the WWE network. I forget what it was called, but it was very cool because it was chronicling people that are megastars now. It had like very young Bailey and Becky and like all in the earlier days. Serena Deeb in there, and Sarah Del Rey as trainers. And he was in there, and they just showed him like leading promo class, and you were like, God, you could just see and hear how great his mind was for wrestling in it and how valuable he was to these kids. And, a lot of people have been, I think now you're starting to hear more and more about, because now it's a part of a legacy, I guess, like how great of a grasp he had on that side of the business and how important it was. And a lot of stuff from that era does not necessarily hold up super well. You named the Stardust or the Goldust feud as one of them. Yeah. So it is like tricky. You always have to kind of watch on a curve, I think. But I said, I always try to be a student and go back and watch stuff. And I watched, by a lot of people's recommendations, Razor and 1-2-3 Kid versus Shawn Michaels and Diesel. And man, what a fucking match. Like, just so well put together. Everybody knowing exactly what they were doing. Like, so well done. The pacing was perfect. It was, and I'm not like anti-flippy do, but like so well orchestrated chaos. And now I'm like, oh, I get a little bit why people complain about things in AEW. Like, still overkill when people complain about it, I think. But I'm like, I understand like how well the fundamentals of that were executed going back and watching it. So a great match to check out. I know a lot of people have been, because that's what you always do in these situations, is circulate those, but it's just very sad when something like a simple hip surgery is what ends up taking someone out who, you feel like was almost immortal because of the things that they overcame, right? And then it's something, it wasn't even a heart procedure. Like this was about a hip, and right. I think that can be your drug use catching up with you when things like that happen, unfortunately. So
sure,
it's such a shame. But he did live a hell of a life in the years that he was here. It's just sad that some of what could have been his best got taken away because he really, really did get his act together. And the thing circulating the most was that Hall of Fame speech where he said that hard work pays off, dreams come true, and bad times don't last, but bad guys do. Like, what a perfect line to summarize who he was. I think it was the best thing that you could have had in tribute to him.
Yeah, it's crazy only because well, first of all, so many people from everywhere, both sides, AEW, WWE, every promotion, guys were putting out their words, for Scott Hall. He really did touch so many in some way, but it's amazing to see, like you said, Kate, like the Bullet Club might not exist without what he did. And it's so true when you look at what happened. Now, Schlong, you were watching live during that era, right? Yeah, so was I. Schlong is shaking his head. Sorry, I didn't mean to hit you while you were drinking.
You hit me right when I was drinking water. Yeah, that was... I started in end of 95.
Right. So, to watch it happen live, so you could certainly go back and watch it now, right? But if you weren't kind of watching the industry at that time live, to see the shift that happened when he showed up and jumped the rail at WCW, Kate, my young mind was exploding because I didn't know if it was real or not. That was what made it so different and cool. And that was the start of that reality, sort of wrestling, right? Like the gimmicks went, the guys, the fucking superheroes were gone. The guys in the costumes, none of that shit mattered anymore. And then when Hogan turned, forget it. It was fucking over. So it totally shifted the industry. We wouldn't have guys who could just be themselves now, or I agree with the Bullet Club, because I think the Bullet Club learned from the mistakes of the NWO and how WCW kind of ran it into the ground. Everybody was part of the NWO, and
or the pay-per-view where they all faced themselves.
Well, it's not even that they faced themselves. They had matches, but the referee was an NWO ref, and they were surrounded by NWO fans. Who do you think's going to win those matches?
But they still lost a couple. So put that math together.
Well,
I mean, Bischoff says it all the time. Oh, he wanted to create WCW versus NWO in literally like one show, like kind of like SmackDown versus Raw. One show of WCW, one show of NWO. what he fails, he never clicks in his head was like NWO was heel. Like I know there was like they're cool and all, but you can't have a whole show just full of heels because
Right.
they're going to cheat and do everything all the time. And I would also say the NWO would never have worked if Scott Hall wasn't as cool as he is, because Hogan turning was awesome, but Hogan made it feel wrestling. He still talked in his wrestling cadence, and he couldn't get past being an 80s person, brother, and I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. And it was Scott Hall who was like cool. It made it seem like Kevin Nash was cool too, but Kevin Nash didn't. Scott Hall was the one who like really carried the mic and carried the whole thing. So you were like, oh, this is awesome. And if he came in playing Razor, which he kind of did his first time, but I mean like truly playing Razor, like fully in character, probably would have bombed.
Sure.
Because it would have just been wrestling. The fact that he was able to come out and be his natural cool self, he's the reason it worked.
Absolutely. If it wasn't for him being himself and showing that it could work, then they would have just killed it, right? And I think because it worked, it was like, all right, Hall can do the same thing and it'll work, and then we can just keep running this. I mean, the great thing is, like you said, Schlong, there's a lot of podcasts. Bischoff talks about it a few times on his show, so you can find it in their archives. I don't remember, what's it, 68 weeks or whatever it's called?
83 weeks.
83? I don't know. 83
it's how many weeks they beat WWE in the ratings.
I just couldn't remember the number. I used to listen to it. I used to listen to it a lot, but once I stopped going into the office every day, I stopped listening to podcasts. And then the other thing too is I haven't listened to Something to Wrestle With in probably 2.5 years at this point. But I remember in some of those early episodes, there were a number of episodes where they talked about Scott Hall, and there was some really good stuff in there. And I'd be surprised if they don't pull some of those out for a best of show or something like that. So you could certainly find a lot of content out there about Scott Hall. It is, I think we've kind of all said it here. It's a total tragedy the way that he went out after kind of righting so many of the things that were wrong. And he will certainly be missed, but the industry is the way it is, certainly thanks to him and what he was able to do in WCW with the NWO. And he was a bad guy. So Scott Hall will be missed.
It was kind of eerie that happened like the week after Regal gave a promo basically talking about his demons and correcting them, and they're the same age. Like, I was thinking about that a lot, about like how he was so emotionally breaking down, calling Bryan Danielson the perfect wrestler and talking about like what he could have been if he didn't fall victim to those demons. It felt like almost eerie how similar that was, for sure.
Did anyone I hate to get off Hall, but I'm gonna forget so we can wait. Sure. Did anybody listen to Regal's Talk is Jericho and hear what he went through in the last from like 18 on?
No, I didn't actually know that was out yet. I didn't see that.
Oh man. I mean, I can't it's not spoiling because it's not. He so apparently he broke his neck in like the 90s and never fixed it. So his neck was like fused together with like just like a gelatinous mess. So they had to insert like a tight, and then like 4 plates or whatever were broke, or 4, and they had to like fuse them with like a special titanium thing that made it work. But then he had to sit still for 8 days as spinal fluid drained out, which apparently when spinal fluid drains out, it's like all your nerves are on fire. He said it was the most painful. At the same time, his heart had a hard shell form around it. Forget what it's called. That almost killed me. It's 6 months left to live. He had to have open heart surgery where they literally had to pull this hard calcium shell off of his heart.
Holy shitballs.
So he almost died like a couple times. So like when he went into the ring, his health's like, I guess, relatively fine now. But when he was speaking, and I didn't do it justice, please listen, because I gave you the worst Cliff Note version of like the hell he went through. But you get some context as to why he was so emotional walking back, because he legitimately almost
feels like he's on borrowed time, probably.
He had 6 months. The doctor said, if we did not catch this and do this now, you had 6 months to live.
Jeez.
and he had a broken neck for 20, 30 years. He said when the doctor looked at his neck X-ray, the doctor just kept saying fuck, 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 and then was like, when did this happen? And he said it like 90 something. He's like, that doesn't make sense. He goes, what do you mean? He goes, the last time I saw someone with an X-ray like this, they were in a wheelchair.
Crazy.
Jeez.
Just crazy. And that's the most recent talk, is Jericho?
Yeah. So if you have a chance, go listen to it. He's a fascinating guy anyway, but he really goes into, it's pretty much just his health stuff over the last 2018 on is when he started addressing it. And he's very gracious to WWE because they paid for all these super expensive surgeries. And also, like, he harbors no ill will. It's not like a go in there and trash WWE thing. But I do think if anyone watches the way he talks on screen about like having borrowed time and stuff, I do think it's important to listen to this and understand where he's coming from, because he is truly a guy who's not living on borrowed time, but definitely
could have been.
Yeah, he saw the doctors basically, like I said, 6 months. That was what he was given. So,
Man.
Crazy. Well, I mean, as we're talking about some Regal stuff, let's start to maybe work ourselves into a little bit of AEW before we hit the break. I just want to run through Rampage real quick from Friday night. It was a pretty decent show. Didn't do great in the ratings, but it's Friday night. Darby Allin defeated Mark Quinn. And we also got Jamie Hayter defeating Mercedes Martinez. Keith Lee defeated QT Marshall. And then our main event, we saw Swerve make his debut in AEW, and he defeated, unfortunately, Mr. Abs, Tony Nese. And really the reason I even want to bring it up was to see, did you guys have a chance to catch Swerve's first match? Yeah. I thought it was pretty good.
I thought he looked great, and he just oozes charisma. I think he's just an absolute star. It's funny because watching him, I was like, he could have worked in what WWE's trying to do. It's kind of funny that they released him, because I feel like he is a great pro wrestler, and I can't wait to see what he does here. But his charisma and whole disposition is so charismatic and entertaining. I was like, it's kind of weird that they let that one slip through their fingers as opposed to some of the others they let go. But I thought he looked fantastic in the ring, and he just is cool as hell. We're paying tribute to cool guys this week, right? Cool bad guys. He seems just awesome. I'm very excited to see what he has coming up.
Yeah, and we do get an idea of sort of maybe what's coming for Swerve we see tonight, which was pretty exciting to me. But yeah, I thought, Ryan, what did you think of that Swerve match? I thought it was pretty great. I really hate when they go to picture in picture. I'm sorry, I know I just asked you a question.
No, go for it.
I hate when they go to picture in picture, because like Swerve got all his shit in, and then they go to picture in picture, and Nese gets all his shit in, and then they go right back, and Swerve goes back to getting his offense. Like, I just hate that. I'd like to see it a little more even time on live television. But anyways, what did you think of the match itself, Schlong? Good look for Swerve. Swerve.
It was a good Swerve.
And that is how we'll talk about him now, Swerve.
It was not a swing and a miss.
No.
I agree with you on the picture-in-picture thing. Like, in my head, rationally, I know I'm like, this is how they earn their TV contracts, and I want them to have big money contracts, not because I care how much money Tony Khan makes, but because the more they make as a company, the more wrestlers they can hire, the better it is for what I enjoy. So, like, in my head, I'm like, I get why picture-in-picture exists, but in my heart, I fucking despise it. That being said, the match itself was awesome. That I put it on Twitter, that flip over the rope where he did a hand plant on the mat and flipped over. Yeah. That's cool on its own, but the strut afterwards is what you can't teach, and that's what makes Swerve so awesome. He looked so fucking cool. Like, it was so nonchalant. It's honestly what I used to like about Ricochet and NXT a little bit, was like, when these guys can do something that no one else can do, just let them be cool. Like, don't try to, like, that's where I fear Swerve in WWE would have been, is they might have dorkied him up a bit, which you would think, how can you do that to him? But they pull it off sometimes, surprisingly.
Well, they just named Pete Dunne Butch and gave him a easy cap. So yeah, I think your concerns are validated.
So, because he is just so naturally cool, and he can talk, he can do things no one else can do, and no, he can. I mean, I don't say no, but he can do things that only a limited few can do in the ring. And he's actually, he's not like a big dude, but he's not a small guy, which really helps him out because for the exception of only a handful of guys, he's never going to look like a small person in the ring, which is very nice because I expect him to be in your big league feuds. So,
well, he's just getting heated up, and that was a nice first taste of what Swerve can do in AEW. So that was fun. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about was Keith Lee, just fucking awesome. He threw fucking QT Marshall around the ring for a while. Then he throws Nick Camarado and Aaron Solo around for a few minutes, and then we see Hobbs come in and just lay Keith Lee out. And it's just like, what the fuck? These two giant dudes. I thought that match was a lot of fun too. And again, just really good seeing what Keith Lee can do when sort of like the reins are off,
Yes.
And we have an idea of what's coming up for Keith Lee. We'll talk about it in a little bit here, but just fun seeing Keith Lee be able to do what he can do.
that was perfect for both Keith Lee and Powerhouse Hobbs because Keith Lee looks strong as shit. He just beat up how many guys? And so it's not like he looks weak, but then Powerhouse Hobbs has the great image of doing, the Spinebuster to Keith Lee, which is as epic as you can get. So like that was really well done to make both big guys just look awesome.
Yeah, just a great sort of segment there. Kate, anything you want to mention about Keith Lee before we kind of move on?
Just that I also appreciated his interactions with Nick Camarado because Nick Camarado's a bigger dude too. Like it was fun to see. I'm always going to pop for Keith Lee yeeting people, but it is nice to see him pick on someone a little closer to his own size a little bit. So those interactions were great. QT's a perfectly solid hand for any type of stuff like this. Like he's going to lose to Hook. He's going to lose to Keith Lee the next week. He's perfect for that role. Makes everybody look good. Just a professional. You can tell why he's a trainer. He's great at that. So
absolutely. So guys, I know we got some other stuff to get into, but just in case maybe you didn't know. Oh, Kate, I don't think you know. Do you know that we're on a little network here called the Shining Wizards Network?
What?
Yeah, Kate. I don't know after 51 weeks how you don't know, or I'm sorry, 51 episodes, how you don't know that we're part of a network called the Shining Wizards Network.
Well, it's not like I know any of the other great shows that would be on such a network. No one's ever told me about it before.
Well, I can tell you this much. One, it's the Shining Wizards Network because it was created by the Shining Wizards.
Oh, I know those guys. They're on Monday nights.
Yeah, some call it the B show of the network.
Correct.
Compared to the Mark Order podcast.
I think everyone does.
I was trying to be polite. 7:00 on Monday nights, I think, when they feel like it. Who knows? They've only been doing it for over 10 years. So, eventually everything loses steam after a while, right?
I know that's right.
So that's how the network was named. But Kate, there are other programs that are part of the network.
Get out of town! It's not just a network with 2 shows on it?
No, you would think, but there's more shows. And I've got a few words here that are going to play that's going to tell you about some of the other great programming. So why don't you sit tight and listen just like that? And everybody else stay tuned too, because we're going to come back and we're going to talk about Dynamite after these words from the other great shows on the Shining Wizards Network.
Everyone knows a lot of things can change in the span of 10 years. But when it comes to professional wrestling podcasting, one thing is still guaranteed. The Shining Wizards is the only place to get all the latest wrestling news, interviews with the greatest guests, and of course, tons of laughs in discussing the world of wrestling. The show is still available on Monday nights at 7 p.m. East on rantemradio.com and Rant Entertainment Media on the TuneIn app. And it's still available on all podcasting platforms. To check us out, head over to shiningwizards.com, where it's still wrestling talk and talk about wrestling.
Because of the obvious threat to untold numbers of citizens, and because of the crisis which is even now developing, this radio station will remain on the air day and night. This station and hundreds of other radio and TV stations throughout this part of the country are pooling their resources through an emergency network hookup to keep you informed of all developments.
What's up, everyone? When on the Shining Wizards Network, be sure every Friday to check out Radioactive Metal. Radioactive Metal is one of the longest running podcasts on the interweb, and every week we bring you a fist full of metal, including interviews with all your favorite artists, discuss all the metal news, and feature the best tunes on the air today. So grab a Lemmy, join your cool Uncle Snowy and co-host Aaron in the pit.
Your recognized symbol of excellence in sports entertainment broadcasting from the current to the way back. Join the impact player Phil Brea and the Portuguese man of war Choppy for the Turnbuckle Throwbacks Wrestling Podcast. Live every week on rantemradio.com. Get all our episodes over at iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, Audio Boom, Google Play, ShiningWizardsNetwork.com, and TurnbuckleThrowbacks.com.
Are you tired of being told what to think and believe by Hollywood elites and politicians who just don't care about you?
Tired of not getting the truth when you watch the news?
Tired of trying to figure out what pronoun to use?
Tired of mob mentality when all you want to do is think for yourself and make up your own mind?
That's where we come in. This is Justin.
And Vince.
Your hosts of Inconclusive Breakdown.
We are a weekly anti-PC podcast bringing you entertainment and current event news without any spin.
If you want to truly stay informed on what's going on in the world, then give us a listen every Sunday. You get podcasts, at least till Zuckerberg and Twitter Jack deplatform us.
And as always, we're proud members of the Shining Wizards Network.
Tired of the PC police telling you what you can and cannot say? Want a show that travels back to the 80s and 90s where the badass hosts have beaten down cancel culture on 3 separate occasions and carried on to gloat about it? Since 2013, The Midnight Jury is that show. Travel back to the malls and arcades, pop in your VHS, and join us where the 80s and 90s return from the dead. Conan, tell them where to find us.
WLWstudios.com, home of the Midnight Jury podcast hosted by Midnight Mike and Calvin Brody.
Also available on all major podcast platforms via the Shining Wizards Network, and join in the conversation on Twitter at Midnight Jury.
What's up, wrestling fans? You want something awesome? Check out Wrestling Night in Canada here on the Shining Wizards Network. We're 3 Canadian metalheads uniting for the love of pro wrestling. Every episode we go over all the latest news and special events with the odd unique interview as well. So grab a cold one and check out Wrestling Night in Canada, eh?
So, Kate, did you learn anything there? That there are other great shows that are part of the Shining Wizards Network?
And I learned so much, and I'm definitely going to remember it for the next 6 days precisely.
Well, try not to forget. We'll see what happens next week. But before we move on, we also want to remind people that if you're not connected with us on social...
What the hell are you doing?
Exactly. You can find us on our social platforms at MarkOrderPod. Primarily Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and of course the YouTube channel where you're watching us now if you're watching live, or you might be watching at a later date. But if you go to our social platforms, maybe you're only connected to us on Twitter. Go up to the bio, hit that link tree. You can find all of our other social platforms. Connect on all of them. Stay up to date on what we're doing. Catch the new website when we have it fully redesigned and all the other fun stuff we have planned. Most importantly, though, Kate and Ryan, there is now a way for people to get stickers for free in our link tree.
What?
All they have to do is click that button right at the top that says request free stickers and then put in your name, your address, and the country that you live in. And we will send out these free stickers. We got the V1, the old reliable square sticker here. Nice backing paper on it too. Fancy. But guess what? We got V2. V2 here. The nice round sticker. And if you request stickers, we will certainly send you a couple of each so you have some to choose from.
And all you have to do is pay shipping, right, Aunt?
Kate, don't tell people that. They're free.
What?
You send your address.
Free?
You send your address, and I take care of the rest.
Wow, what a deal! Marky Mark Kayfabe has his. I should probably get mine too if I want to be cool.
Well, like I said, all you got to do is go to our socials, hit that link tree, click the request button, and then tell me where to send them. And I'll send them anywhere in the world. Anywhere. I've sent them to Canada. I'm waiting for somebody to be like, send one to the UK. I'd love if somebody's like, hey, Mamma Mia, I'm Italia. Send it over. Buonasera. Will do. Will do.
That sounded extremely
I'm going to be honest. I got questions if someone from Italia is listening to this podcast.
Why? Maybe they speak English.
Fair.
Come
English-speaking Italian folk. Fans of
happens.
AEW.
Yeah.
Mark Order members.
Yeah.
Society.
We're a worldwide organization.
We are.
So, guys, moving on to
Breaking!
Okay, sure. Let's do it.
Jesus Christ.
She's just going to bulldoze into it. Let's talk about the rankings real quick. Let's just recap it.
So much.
I know you do, but actually, listen. Some of the ranking stuff lately has made sense. They've been making a big deal out of Wardlow being at the top of the rankings. So as you can see here, we have our champions and newly crowned TNT champion Scorpio Sky.
Where is CM Punk?
Well, CM Punk is not in the rankings because he doesn't wrestle enough, Kate. He doesn't wrestle.
Really?
He doesn't.
You don't wrestle enough?
I don't wrestle at all. Number 1, Wardlow. 2, Lance Archer. 3, Sammy Guevara. 4, Adam Cole.
Baby!
Schlong let me down again. And 5, Adante Martin. In the tag division, our champs are still Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. Number 1, The Dark Order.
Baby!
Number 2. Oh, very delayed, but thank you, Ryan. Number 1, The Dark Order, Silver and Reynolds. Number 2, the Gun Club, aka the Ass Boys. Number 3, oh my God, it's Private Party. Number 4, the Acclaimed.
Yo, listen.
And somehow number 5, FTR. I only assume because they fired Tully. Dead weight. And in the ladies division, our champion was Britt Baker. Our champion is Britt Baker. Excuse me. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here. And Jade Cargill still holds that Bitch Show championship. Our number 1 contender, Thunder Rosa. 2, Deeb. 3, Legit Layla Hirsch. 4, Anna Jay. And 5, starting it up, it's Red Velvet. So, guys, Kate, would you actually like to go in deep on the rankings? Is that something you like to do?
No, thank you. Simply only for time constraints.
Oh, only for time. All right. So
you know how militant I am about us ending early.
Sure. Schlong, just take a note then for next week. We're just going to open straight up with the rankings, and Kate's going to do her in-depth analysis of the rankings.
Oh no, I can't be here for reasons.
That's a shame. So guys, Dynamite, St. Patrick's Day Slam from San Antone, Texas tonight. What a card they had for us. So let's get into it here. They led off the show, and I didn't know what they were going to lead the show off with, but they led it off with Adam Cole.
Baby!
And Redragon.
Sorry, I was sneezing.
Yeah, I know. You're just not going to commit to the bit. I get it.
I was sneezing.
Adam Cole and Redragon versus Hangman Adam Page and Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. Guys, I thought this match was really good. I'm just going to cut to the end to get to the decision here. Adam Cole and Redragon win over Hangman Page and Jurassic Express. It was a pinfall. Cole hit the boom on Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Jungle Boy eating the pin tonight. No post-match antics. Hangman Adam Page was clearly disappointed. He actually was held back, and Adam Cole was staring him dead in the eyes as he pinned Jungle Boy. I thought this was a fun match. All these guys can go, and they just continue to put on really quality matches. Kate, what did you think of the opener tonight? Also, first time in a couple weeks we've opened up with a wrestling match.
Yes, which is my preference, but when they've opened up with speaking segments, they've been great. So not a huge complaint on that front, but I do prefer this format. I really liked the match. Some really good spots in it. The only thing that I don't like is I don't like champions losing on my television, and I feel like Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, as much fun as they are as champions, I think it's pretty obvious that the best tag teams in the world are the Young Bucks and the FTR. So I think it's a little bit tricky already. So to have them getting pinned is tough. I do think it serves the greater story, and that maybe if Adam Page had Dark Order, he would have won. And I think you want Adam Cole looking stronger going into this. So I get it from that perspective. It's just not a great scenario when you have tag champions who I'm already need an extra level to buy into getting pinned. And I also would have just had Luchasaurus eat the pin. I feel like Jungle Boy is the star in that, and he's the most vulnerable star in all of this. So those are my only complaints, but a very, very fun opener. Bobby Fish is 900 years old and still looks great. His kicks are so good. He lays this shit in so hard. Very nice to see Kyle O'Reilly too. Sometimes he gets lost in the shuffle with everything going on, but he's such a good wrestler, and it's nice to see him work. So a strong opener. Just didn't love the booking corner that they booked themselves into, which I also have complaints about down the line in this episode. But the match itself was great, and I think this is a nice story to have continue. It doesn't feel like it's long in the tooth yet. Adam versus Adam seems like something that organically should be continuing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. I feel like not Jungle Boy, I'm sorry, Luchasaurus was the person who should eat the pin. But I think when you sort of sit back and think about how they kind of came into this match, it sort of makes sense because Adam Cole was talking about these two guys are living rent-free in your head, and maybe this is going to make Adam Page second guess himself, right? Because he just couldn't save Jungle Boy in that moment, so maybe from that standpoint it makes sense. But yeah, I didn't necessarily love that Jungle Boy took that pin. Also, I don't think I've said it here. Mrs. Money probably is tired of me saying it. I don't know why. Every time I see Kyle O'Reilly, I think Danger Aaron from Jackass. I don't know why.
I could see it.
Don't know why. Schlong, what'd you think of this opener?
I enjoyed the match. I don't have a problem with the way it ended because Jungle Boy being small, I know maybe you should protect him because of that, but at the same point, a little easier to make a pin on it. Something is entertaining, Kate, and it's distracting me now.
Sorry. I just got a funny text message about my nails.
Okay. Oh, okay. But it's harder to get Luchasaurus in a pin position than it is Jungle Boy, so I guess that's why they went that route. I will also say I actually don't mind the champs lose because the champs are not an established trio. They are a tag team and a guy who's not related to them, whereas Red Dragon and Adam Cole are established, really established somewhere else, but are even established here. And I will take this to my grave. Established teams should always win. There's it makes whether it's trios or tag team, that's what makes something special. So an established trios team should always beat a non-established trios team, and an established tag team should always beat a non-established tag team. That's why that's the difference. It makes the divisions feel unique. I hate there's obviously Mox and Danielson don't count because they're going to build each other up as a tag team rather than just being thrown together. So I have no problem, and I like where the story's going. So We will see.
Maybe another possible way this goes is that, either Hangman or the Dark Order is like, well, maybe if, we were teaming with you, that wouldn't have happened. You know what I mean? And he starts to sort of second guess his allegiance and all that kind of stuff. Like, this can certainly play into Adam Page's head. There's a lot of ways they can kind of go with this story. So maybe it makes sense as we work this story out. They had just sort of hit the reset button on everything last week, and now we're sort of building to the next, level. So, we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I think that Dark Order wrinkle has to be there. Like, well, if you had picked Silver and Reynolds, you never would have been in this situation.
Silver and Reynolds, Silver and Reynolds. Sorry.
I'm getting nervous that I'm losing my throne as like the pun master. I'm not gonna lie.
Losing your sight, losing your mind. Wish somebody would tell you you're fine.
Please. The song puns, my God. So after this, we go backstage, and Shivani is with Keith Lee, Ricky Starks, and Will Hobbs. And Starks is calling out Keith Lee, and saying it's his lucky day because that whooping he is going to get is saved for later. But they got him on Rampage last week, and should he go back to Rampage, the same thing's going to happen. And Lee asked if that includes when he punched out Ricky and then laid on the mat like a bitch. He said he'll see him Friday because there is a match where Keith Lee will be fighting Max Caster. So I like this thing that's going on with Hobbs and Keith Lee. I mean, seeing Hobbs, sidewalk slam Keith Lee last week was pretty impressive. I think those two could have a really fun match. So I'm interested to see where this goes. And we get a little bit more into this later. But I thought this was a nice little segment to sort of plant the seeds about Hobbs and Keith Lee little feud going here.
I agree. I love that when Keith Lee's being they're talking to Keith Lee, his hands are just like this, and he's just kind of like staring away. Because there's like an arrogance there it's not like a bad arrogance where you're a heel. It's like the good kind of arrogance of like, I'm just going to let you run your mouth. It doesn't matter to me. And that is perfect for his characters, because his character is not only a monster of a wrestler, but he's like the super intelligent, awesome guy. So being yelled at wouldn't bother him.
Yeah, it's just impossible to not want to cheer for Keith Lee. Like, I think he's just so likable and so much fun, both in the ring and promo wise. Like, his whole energy to things is just so special and unique, because huge guys like that, you want them to be monsters. He's not like that. He's so likable. So that's super fun. And then big meaty men slapping meat. Hell yeah, let's do it. Him and Hobbsy, let's go. I came in on that. And Starks being involved in this. Starks is one of my favorites. I'm excited. So yeah, I'm all for the storyline. It's something that's away from a belt, but it includes the fake belt, so it feels somewhat important, which is good. It's a good place for Keith Lee to be if he's not going to immediately be in a title picture, I think.
Well, you also heard it here first from Kate. She likes big men slapping each other's meat around. So
big meaty men slapping each other's meat around.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Preferably in their underwear.
Oh, okay. Big meaty men slapping meat in underwear. That's going to be the name of your memoir.
The Kate Hensler story.
That's right. So we do come back from commercial, and it's a vignette, but I want to call this out because I thought it was sort of interesting here, Kate and Schlong. The vignette they play is about Chris Statlander, and it ends with her taking her contact out and removing her face paint. So her whole gimmick has been the alien, but are we moving away from the alien now? Where are we going to go with Chris Statlander? What are our thoughts on this?
I am so excited. Sorry, Kate. I'm very excited for this.
Aggressive.
Oh.
Well, I just happened to this surprisingly very excited and coming. I think she kind of outgrew the alien gimmick. Like, I like a little bit still, but I think for her to take the next step, she needs to be Chris Statlander. and she's so good that I want her to take that next step. So,
I think she better still fucking boot people. Because if she doesn't boot people, I'm going to be very, very upset. But I agree with Ryan overall. She a different planet, pun sort of intended. I didn't intend it when it came out of my mouth, but now that I got like halfway there, I'm intending it because I'm not a coward. I intend my puns. She, since coming back from injury, has just been one of their most reliable in-ring talents that they have in the division. She has been so consistently good. Her match with Britt was so great. Her match with Layla was the best women's match on the pay-per-view, and it was on the buy-in. Like, she has been absolutely fantastic since returning from injury, and I hope she gets a very big push because she has earned it. And I do think, well, I love some more gimmicky characters, especially in somewhere like AEW. I think there is a little bit more of a ceiling on them. And I think the women's division is in such desperate need right now that having her be a little bit more of a human-centric rather than alien-centric character can only benefit a division that is in need of viable talent. So I am all for it, but let Chris boop.
Ba-doop-be-doop.
Keep the boops. Lose the
Yes, all
alien.
boops. Yes, all boops.
Speaking
what do you
of,
think?
Oh, I mean, listen, I think that there's only one thing that will worry me here is if she just becomes Chris Statlander and there's nothing there, right? Like if there's nothing behind it, you know what I mean? Like sometimes, like for Britt Baker, it works because she's like a heel turned up to like 11 of herself, right? You know what I mean?
She goes to
it just has to be the same thing for Chris Statlander. And I think sometimes we were talking about this with Layla Hirsch, right? Or even like Deeb. For a while with Deeb, we were like, she's just got to like have something. Like she can't just be like, I'm Deeb. Like you've got to like give something, have some sort of an edge.
I will say that sorry, I'm in a mood. I'm sorry. I will say that I 100% agree with you. The only thing that makes me feel confident is that Statlander came up with the alien thing on her own. She's a pretty, and I say this complimentary because I'm a weird dude. She's a pretty weird gal. I think she has enough personality that even just being Chris Statlander, or maybe not, she'll still be someone to watch. And not to say that Deeb or Layla don't have personalities. I just think Statlander is. I think she has more personality in terms of able to get it out there than they do. At least we're able to. Now they're really doing well with both of them. But
right,
Statlander is just so unique that I think she's going to be all right doing it. But I agree. If she just becomes Chris Statlander and it's nothing, vanilla face number one, it's like, all right, well then we're screwed.
Yeah. Vanilla face, was that intended to be a Borat reference?
No, but I'm okay that I mean.
Yeah, you don't remember he goes into the thing, he's like, what's up, vanilla face, skeet skeet?
Oh my god, that's right.
Yeah.
I'm happy I made it though.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess like I just want to be clear because and I think we're all saying the same thing, but I do want to be clear. I don't think that Statlander needs some sort of like major over the top gimmick, right?
But she needs
like,
a thing.
You need something, yes. It doesn't have to be like a full blown gimmick, but you've got to have something that people are going to want to watch.
Like Adam Cole doesn't have a gimmick, but he has something. They let him have a personality. You know who he is.
I'm sorry.
So,
who?
Adam Cole,
baby.
It's not my thing. I wait for it.
I know. I was waiting for Kate to do it.
It's supposed to be your thing.
No. I was gonna say Hangman, but he kind of does have a gimmick. He's a millennial cowboy, but
an anxious one.
Bryan Danielson barely has. Sorry, an anxious millennial cowboy. Bryan Danielson barely has a gimmick. He's just a guy who likes to kick your ass, but they're able to get their personality across through it. So exactly what you said. She doesn't need a huge gimmick, but she needs that personality.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see where they go, especially because it was such a quick video, like little vignette. But they certainly called it out, like right as soon as it ended. They were like taking off her makeup, So there's definitely something that's going to be coming there. So the next match we have in the night is the Best Friends, Chuck Taylor and Wheeler Yuta, versus the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley. And what, Kate?
Wheeler Yuta's gear looked so much like a laser background on when you get school pictures.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it did.
It had like the pink and the blues lines.
Cutting to the end of this match, just real quick, I don't want it to get lost. We do have the American Dragon and Jon Moxley winning by submission. It's a reverse bulldog, or the bulldog choke, or the reverse chin lock for Moxley on Yuta. And then post-match, as the Best Friends are leaving, the whole crew, Danhausen as well, and they're leaving, William Regal has made his way to the ring, and Wheeler Yuta stops and sort of looks back. He goes to the ring, and he offers William Regal a handshake, and Regal slaps him in the face. And they have a little chat. They're sort of nodding until Regal tells him to sort of run along. But Wheeler Yuta doesn't back down. So a couple interesting things happening there post-match. But I want to say, first of all, before asking you guys what you thought, I want to say it has been really great getting to see Wheeler Yuta kind of take up the spot, which I would assume would have been Orange Cassidy in these matches, and getting him on television. But it does make sense to this whole thing because Moxley called him out Danielson called him out by name. So he had a singles match against Danielson a couple weeks ago at this point, and now he's in a tag match with Danielson and Moxley. I mean, good for Wheeler Yuta. Really good exposure, and he looked great in both matches. That bridge that he had, that German suplex to the bridge, was just so fantastic. I love Wheeler Yuta. I'm excited to see if this whole faction thing kind of goes anywhere. But Schlong, what did you think about this match and the post-match?
So you kind of said it, and I'm just want to, because you're dead on. I love how this whole match was designed to make Yuta shine. Like that, like if you look at the story and plot of this match, Yuta was the hot tag. I don't think in any match Yuta's had in AEW, he's ever been the hot tag. And then he was granted he took the loss, but that was only because he was the only one in the ring. Like he was giving them both something. They were taking punches. He was kicking ass. He looked amazing. So I love it. Only furthers the story of, like, they mentioned Yuta, and now Yuta's having these matches that he's hard to deny. I love the slap afterwards. Jesus Christ, that looked like it hurt. And that moment, and I was laughing at like Danhausen being like, "Come on, let's go," like trying to get him to leave, and he won't leave, and everybody being like, "What the hell's going on?" And the best part is, like, I don't know how, like, they just got I don't think I don't know when they signed Regal in terms of like when they knew the story, but they were building up some issue between Wheeler and Trent for a little while now. And that feeds perfectly into this other story. And it's like, I don't know if that's a happy accident or if they knew they were going to do something with Yuta, but I loved this match. It was a really good match to begin with. And then I love the story they're telling.
Regal on commentary was phenomenal. What an added layer to everything. Just such a good, such a high value add. He slaps the shit out of people when he slaps them. My goodness. I've liked a lot of this match. I don't know if you guys caught it, but I think Moxley used the heart attack at one point, which is interesting, especially with some of the other references that we get later in the show. But I just really think this is going to be very interesting because I have a feeling that Danielson, or Moxelson, if you would, I think they're going to pull Wheeler from Best Friends. I think they're going to pull Daniel Garcia from 2.0. And I think, 2.0 was a stupid idea from Bad Creative, from the Jericho Appreciation Society.
Yep, we'll get there.
And if Lee Moriarty gets locked in with some sort of stable, what a heelish thing to do, to go picking off the best of these stables to create your own. What a dick move. What a fun heel move. I did not think this Danielson run as a heel was going to be this long or this great. It's continuing even in this tag stuff. That's awesome to me. Fantastic match. Wheeler looked great. I love Wheeler. I thought he was great in ROH. He's a fantastic wrestler. And I just love that they let you autocomplete stuff with your brain in AEW. Like, I didn't need Wheeler Yuta to say, hey, I'm also considering what you guys are teaching me to get the idea that he might defect here. Like, they let you fill in the gaps, which is really, really refreshing. So kudos all around. I thought this was great, and I just loved Regal on commentary, and I loved what he did afterwards.
Kate mentioned Regal on commentary, and Kyle K. Sparks brought up to me what was my favorite quote too, and I almost forgot it, was, "Pray tell, Masked Man, who is that demon waif about Danhausen?" And I just was dying laughing at that.
It's so great.
Yeah, I also loved when Regal sat down at first, and he said, "Thank you, JR. I didn't get to thank you like I did Tony last week." And then he says to Excalibur, he's like, "Masked Man, I don't have anything." He says something like, "I have nothing to say to you."
Yeah, he was like, "You haven't done it.
Right.
You haven't done anything for me," or something.
And just like so sheepishly after a few beads of silence, Excalibur's just like, "I have nothing to say." It's just so perfect.
It just amazes me when people assimilate so immediately. I'm always so impressed by that. I said it with Bowens and Caster very early on. Like, you would never know there was a point where they weren't a tag team before AEW. You would never know Regal wasn't in AEW outside of the history that he has. Like, I love when people can just fall into an environment and it feels so natural, because that's not something that's easy to accomplish a lot of times.
Yeah, but I think also, and I don't disagree with what you're saying, Kate, but I think it also just shows you how great a mind Regal is to be able to come in so seamlessly and just play into this. And it was probably like, hey, here's the story we're going to kind of want. But he can just insert himself and just pick it up. Just
immediately. Was so excited for his debut. He slaps the shit out of people. And last week he was making me cry with his promo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's been here 3 weeks and I felt so many emotions about his presence in that time. Like, what a skilled worker.
And we're only talking about the on camera stuff. Not even getting into he just in more around his health issues in the Jericho interview. He was telling you how the traveling he was doing as he was dealing with these major things, and he went to England over the summer and got to see a bunch of matches. So then on a last minute call, WWE asked him to put together a tournament for English wrestlers with 24 hours notice, and he was only able seeing wrestlers in the summer. Put 24 wrestlers together in one night. He's just,
and it was good.
His mind for it is so. He is one of those guys. Clearly, his on camera thing is amazing already, but his behind the scenes, he's going to be able to take these guys who. There's a couple no one I'm gonna knock or no one gonna say, but even some of the best who could just use that little bit extra of work, that little finishing. Like a Wheeler Yuta will even say how good Wheeler Yuta is. You can't tell me he's not gonna be better. Having William Regal come up and being like, "Have you tried this?" It's so good. And so I just want to bring that up. We're complimenting how good he is on camera because he's awesome, and he's got a whole lot more to offer behind. They got such a home run. I'll never understand WWE's just thinking with letting him go.
It was the final piece of this reboot, I think, but it was dumb. It was very dumb.
Yeah, well. Their loss is AEW's gain. And a team who lost something last week, FTR, were being interviewed backstage by Shivani. They say that firing Blanchard didn't come easy, but he seemed like he'd been checked out after they lost their titles. And that's when the Young Bucks roll up. And they say that there's no manager they could hire that would ever make them anything but the second best tag team in AEW. And then we go to break. So clearly we're building this feud again with FTR.
That isn't all they said.
Well, I'm getting there. Hold on. So they're building this feud, and Kate, you had dropped it before that the heart attack was used in the prior match. The Bucks here did make mention. They said you could hire the best there is, and it wouldn't matter. You'll still be the second best. And don't think, Kate, that in that moment I didn't like perk up a little bit and I was like, best there is. It's like, I was like, come on, say it. Best there was. Come on. So yeah, I don't know what they're possibly lining up, if they are, or if this is all coincidence. But listen, the Owen tournament is going to be starting in a couple weeks, right? Or maybe next month when they're at
Next month, yeah.
It is next month. So yeah, I don't know where they're going with that, but I do know that if they're going to heat up FTR and the Young Bucks again, sign me up.
Agree with that. And you know, I think it would just be so incredible for Dax Harwood, because he's just been so open about the impact that Bret Hart has had on him. And just how, just like, he's everybody has a reason that they do this guy, and Bret Hart is his. And I just think that would be so special for as selfless of a worker as Dax Harwood is. If it is Bret, like, God bless him, because he so deserves it. And I think it is interesting timing with that too, because he's been posting stuff on Instagram about, like, he said something about like family and Bret Hart. That's all I care about, or whatever. And like was wearing his Bret Hart sweatshirt. Like, it does seem a little coordinated. And if they got Bret Hart on their screen for an extended period of time, I'm sure it would be for the Owen stuff. But like, yeah, sorry, Tully. I would trade you in too for Bret freaking Hart. Man.
And don't forget, Bret Hart did come into on the first episode, right? I think that gets forgotten. Bret Hart, you know, presented the heavyweight title, or the world title. Sorry, it's not a heavyweight, the world championship title. So he's, you know, showed his face there before, but yeah, I don't know what they could be lining up here, but boy, oh boy, if they can get him on TV in any sort of way for an extended period, I think it'd be good for them. Schlong, any idea? Is this all conspiracy theory to you, or are you buying into any of this stuff?
I don't think it's conspiracy theory, because they don't do any of that stuff without thought. You know, I hate to reference the other company, but I will. You know, they've been dropping a lot of Cody lines, and people are like, oh, they wouldn't say this without Cody showing up. And they absolutely would, because they do that. They like to troll their own fans. AEW is pretty good about that. Like, they like to drop these lines for a reason. I also think I would love just to see Bret get his flowers and be like, have a chance to share his wrestling mind with people who want to see it. And, you know, I know he's been there before to show the belt, but I would like to see him, maybe not, on camera with FTR, but just even behind the scenes a little bit. Let him talk to these guys. He still loves wrestling so much. Let him get to share his love. I think with the Owen thing and now these hints, I just can't see them putting this out, especially with FTR, putting this out there and not have it be Bret. It would seem like something they haven't done before, and that would be a mistake on their part.
Well, we have a little bit of time to see where this goes. They're dropping very subtle hints. I don't think it's a coincidence, but we'll see. When we get back from break, there's another segment backstage. The Acclaimed are sort of giving a little pep talk.
Listen to this pep talk.
You're right. They're kind of talking each other up and talking about the match coming up, Max Caster versus Keith Lee on Friday night. And that's when Starks and Hobbs roll up and introduce themselves. And they are starting to talk about whooping Keith Lee's ass. But that's when one Shane Swerve Strickland rolls up and tells Starks that he's going to make Rampage his house.
Whose house?
I believe Swerve's house.
Swerve.
It's SCHWERVE. Swerve. So Kate, we were talking about this a little bit before about, you know, Starks is a favorite. We want to see more Starks. Swerve Starks. I will certainly take that.
That would be a lot of very sound fundamental wrestling and cool guy charisma in one wrestling ring. Yes, please, all day. I don't know if that's going to come out in a tag match of some sort. I don't really care. Gimme, 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 gimme.
I couldn't agree more. Let's see where this goes. Maybe Swerve shows up Friday night to help out Keith Lee. We'll have to see what happens Friday night. We do have the card. We'll talk about the card and sort of timing on that a little later. But Schlong, Starks, Swerve, in, out, undecided.
I believe I predicted this.
I believe you did too.
I did. See, I'm all for this.
That's
So
the grudging tone of one AntMoney.
No, I'm agreeing. That's not begrudging. That's me agreeing.
I did predict this. I'm only because it made sense in terms of you can't have 2 versus 1 against when one is Hobbs against Keith Lee the entire time. Something has to keep Starks occupied. Swerve needs a first feud. Starks is perfect, and then Swerve moves off and goes against his real feud. But they always give him like that first beginner's feud, like that first we'll just build you into it.
The intro feud.
Yeah,
guys, would a dream tag team be somehow figure out a way to get him out of the faction? Swerve and Hook. What a dream tag team!
Oh my god.
Well, Ryan's got a wet spot in his pants.
The world would explode.
My goodness, I don't know what made me think of that, but that would be
Swerve would make Chip seem so cool.
Oh my god, they'd be eating chips all the time, hanging out,
like in the club.
Oh, you know it. So, guys, we get the Jericho Appreciation Society.
Oh yeah, we do.
Making their entrance to the ring. Now, we've had a lot of big opinions on the Jericho of AEW. I want to get into a little bit of what they said, and then I want to talk through this.
Let's talk about what they said.
Matt Lee is the first one on the mic, and he starts to talk about Jericho, singing his praises, and he said if it were up to him, there'd be no Judas sing-alongs, but Y2J is a better man than him. And Jeff Parker says that Jericho deserves to be praised, and he gives Chris a big intro and then the microphone. So Jericho says that we're lucky to exist in his lifetime, and if he wasn't here, there would be no AEW. Instead, we undermine him and take him for granted and write hurtful things on social media, which he says he reads. And he also said that the Inner Circle never appreciated him. He says Eddie Kingston's a coward who tapped him out in a pay-per-view. But these men do appreciate Jericho. That's why they're the Appreciation Society. And they can't relate to the rest of the roster, who are mere pro wrestlers. And a pro wrestler has never been legendary or a millionaire, but he's a legendary millionaire many times over. And that is because Jericho is a sports entertainer. Let me say it again, because Jericho did. He's a sports entertainer.
Oh yeah, he is.
So Garcia gets on the mic in Jericho's face and said that if he's going to stand there and call himself a sports entertainer, then guess what? Garcia is one too. And Jericho puts Garcia over, recounts how he donated thousands of dollars to the recovery when he got in a car accident in 2019 with some other Buffalo independent wrestlers. And then he talks about 2.0. He says that's a stupid name from Bad Creative. You'll never hear it again. And then he uses that's perfect. He says they use their real names from now on in the Jericho Appreciation Society, Matt Menard and Angelo Parker.
But didn't he give them like dumb nicknames and saying it was their real names? Wasn't he like Big Daddy Matt Menard or something?
Yeah, he was like Matt Madman Menard or something like that. You know,
it was
like,
so great. We're gonna call them by their real names. Here's a ridiculous nickname I thought was real fucking fun.
Of course. Well, he's a sports entertainer. He knows how to entertain.
Of course.
And he talks about how his ex-best friend Kevin called him up after they got released, and that's how they got a spot in AEW, because he put him on the podcast so he could help him get a job. Then he also talks about Jake Hager, who has been the one man he can trust, the hand of the king. And that's when the new era in AEW begins, the era of the sports entertainer. And that is pretty much how we end that segment. Now, a couple things here. One, I feel bad for Jake Hager, only because it's pretty noticeable. Jake Hager has a lisp, right? Why do they always give him the S heavy, like, segments to speak? They made him say sports entertainer and, like, wrestling, like, all these words with S's. I felt so bad. I'm like, why the fuck would you do that to this guy? Come on. But anyway, the real thing I actually want to say here is I liked this segment a lot. A whole fucking lot. And I love that Jericho is giving these guys the rub. He's not a fucking idiot. He did the same thing with the Inner Circle for how long? Obviously it went on way too long, right? But these guys definitely got a rub being with Jericho, and the same thing's going to happen with, I don't know what they're going to call 2.0, but the same thing's going to happen with Garcia and Matt Menard and Angelo Parker. So I think this is great. I like this a lot. I love that at 1.2, Jericho was going to say pro wrestling or like pro wrestlers and stopped himself and said sports entertainer. Like they're going to make it a point not to say wrestling or pro wrestling and sports entertainer. And I fucking love it because it's exactly what you'd expect from the other place. I just fucking love it. I like this a lot. You guys can totally disagree. I love this. Kate, what did you think?
I actually am 100% in agreement with you. I think there's a large belief in AEW that the age of the casual fan is dead. And I think the biggest heel somebody could beat to an AEW fan is WWE guy. And Chris Jericho saw that, took it, and is running with it. And it's the next development of the Demo God. It's the next development of Le Champion. It's like, to me, I think it's perfect. I understand why a lot of people are going to hate it. I think it's great. I think he's listening to everything that's out there and he's incorporating it here. He belongs as a character-based heel. It doesn't always have to be super comedic, but he is a character. Everything he's saying is pretty much true about his own career, which is something I always appreciate. He is a great character. He is a great sports entertainer. It doesn't have to be mutually exclusive with being a great wrestler, which is something that he's leaving out, which is fantastic. I think Garcia is going to defect here. I think 2.0 are the perfect characters to be underneath him and appreciating him in all of this. I thought this was a home run. I think a lot of people are going to feel differently. I don't care. I think they're going to feel like it's redundant. I don't care. This is exactly what Chris Jericho should be doing at this stage of his career. I found a lot of it was striking a nerve with people in the perfect way, and it's gone over their heads a little bit because they really are that tribalistic to AEW in a lot of ways. I absolutely adore how many people loathe that Daniel Garcia is a part of this because he's not going to be a part of it for that long. He's going to defect to this Danielson thing, and it's going to be great. And to your point, look who is in this group. People that are young, people that need coming up, people that need the rub. Like, it's not like he has a bunch of established people with him and Jake Hager is nothing without him. So I just feel like it's a perfectly assembled group. It's going to be Jericho's best value on screen that you could possibly get out of him. I loved this segment. I thought it was an absolute home run, and it lets me do my Jericho voice, which is really the most important part.
Also, I forgot to mention too, I loved everything you said, Kate. Something also to mention, they did not say the Demo God Le Champion. They gave him some new names. I don't remember both of them, but they called him the Influencer.
Perfect.
Right? So perfect. And that's probably what we're going to get now. The Influencer Chris Jericho or something like that, you know? So I love how we're sort of moving past what he's already done. And now we're on to these kind of new stuff in sports entertainer. And I just loved Ryan. I want to hear what you have to say, but I love the Garcia thing so much too, because everybody's like, Garcia's such a great wrestler. And now he's like, I'm not a wrestler. I'm a sports entertainer. Like, it's so fucking perfect to me. Oh, God, I loved it.
All the guys. And I also just want to say before Ryan chimes in here, that dude got real lean real fast. I don't know what diet he did. I don't know what his gym routine was, but holy shit, did he slim down a lot in like a month. That dude got lean fast. It like stood out as much this week as last week. Holy crap.
Yeah, I know that prior to like this past month, Mrs. Money and I would always be like, Jesus Christ, on a weekly basis, his body's fucking rubber banding. Like, what the fuck is going on? But the rumors, Kate, just I don't know if you've seen the rumors. There's nothing confirmed. Is that he has slimmed down a lot due to the health scare he had in the UK, which I don't think anything confirmed ever really came out. Nor does it have to. It's personal. It's his own health stuff. But the word on the street is that, or the rumor mill is saying that it's due to his health scare. And if he's been able to cut weight or do whatever he's got to do, get back in better shape, it'll only benefit him in the ring and benefit his health. So, yeah, he looks fucking great.
Yeah.
The one thing, Kate, though, and I do want your thoughts here, Ryan, but the one thing, Kate, that Mrs. Money called out that she said annoyed her the most about this was that Jericho was wearing 3 different shades of purple. His shoes
was, but I did love those driver's gloves so much.
Oh, of course. I mean, like, listen, I love the whole look. Purple jacket, no shirt, driver's gloves, and purple shoes with jeans. It was perfect. Different shades of purple, though. Schlong, what'd you think about this thing?
So, because Kate cut me off, I'm going to say, hey, Kate, I have better bangs than you right now.
Lies.
No, they're there, and they're better.
Yeah, they are pretty good.
Thank you. I mean, this was a home run segment. I loved the hypocritical nature of saying we're going to use our real names and saying I'm Chris Jericho. Like nobody. I love that's it. You already said it, like bad idea from Bad Creative about 2.0 when clearly the joke is they came up with it. Like just these things of like being a hypocrite in small ways always makes a good heel. And then you mentioned Daniel Garcia getting on the mic and having that moment of I am a sports entertainer. Daniel Garcia is so good at wrestling that he will be liked for being that good. So it's very hard to make him hated. You need this for him. That may be why they put him in this Jericho group, to be like, it's really the only way we can get him as a heel because he's so good. People are going to like him. So make him a sports entertainer. When Jericho trademarked sports entertainer like a couple weeks back or filed for it, we hoped this is where it was going because it's brilliant. I mean, this is what you want. And the group is perfect for it because 4 of the 5 guys are all from WWE. So they all have, except for Garcia, all have it, which also leaves a reason for Garcia to leave even if he does. So this was as good as you could hope for. I'm so curious what Santana and Ortiz's response is going to be to it because they're going to have one. And they are going to come out as like the anti-WWE guys essentially in this feud. So who do they bring in with them? Is it just going to remain the 3, LAX guys? Do they bring in some outside help? Be very interesting. So I loved this. This was perfect from Jericho. This is the Jericho that fits his company perfectly right now. A heel who's an asshole, but in the asshole that you want him to be. Like that, I'm a rich prick who made my money in the company you all hate. Perfect. And then Daniel Garcia needed this, I think, to be hated, but he may leave and go to Moxon Danielson because he is just that good. So it'll be really, really interesting. I loved it. And my bangs are better than Kate's. Agreed.
100%. So we don't need to spend an extended any time on this really, but there was a vignette with Deeb talking about her feud with Sheeta. So they're clearly building that back up. Sheeta's coming back and they're going to have a fight. So, okay.
Give it a stipulation. That's it.
What would you want the stipulation to be?
Probably like
I'm going to cut you off.
No. All I was saying was, do you want the 5-minute stip or you want something else?
No, like an Iron Woman or something. Like something that this needs to be blow-offy because this has been going on a long time, and they're both very good in the ring. So I don't want it to be like a street fight because it doesn't feel like that. But something like Iron Woman-ish would be good. I don't think it needs
2 out
to
of 3
like,
falls.
Yeah, something like that. Like, I think that would be good. Something that lets them still be technical, but also brings it up a level because we've seen this a few times, and it's been a very well-built feud, one of the better ones in the women's division, I think. But it's stipulation time. There's got to be something different and special about this one. Give them the full Rampage hour or whatever. Like, do something.
Well, they're clearly building it to something, so I don't know when they're going to match, to a match somewhere, but it'll be interesting. And I agree, it will need some sort of finality to it, right? So give it a stipulation, do it at some sort of special event, whatever you got to do, but there needs to be a finality now, because I think it's 1-1. So somebody's got to come out on top the third time. Guys, we get into our TNT Championship match of the night after this. Scorpio Sky versus Wardlow. This is Wardlow's first big kind of look at any gold here. And skipping to the end, unfortunately, Wardlow comes up short. Scorpio Sky wins by pinfall. And post-match, American Top Team starts to work on Wardlow. They did get involved a little bit in this match. Paige Van Zant was ringside with her husband. And they're able to sort of get him off, catch him off guard. And Sky was able to kind of fight back. But just as the end of this match is coming through to get to the pinfall, Sean Spears is starting to come down to the ring with chairs. The referee goes to sort of like warn him to stay away, and MJF comes down to smash Wardlow's face into the ring post, and that is what is able to get Scorpio Sky the win. But post-match, Top Team goes to work on Wardlow. He manages to get off of them and then confronts MJF. He stops him from running away. He gets ready for the powerbomb, but that's when Spears hits him with the chair from the back. American Top Team go back to work on Wardlow. Wardlow is now kind of set up for a chair shot. He flips off Sean Spears. He gets blasted with the chair. And that's when we see Max paying off Dan Lambert, and he's able to blast Wardlow with the Dynamite Diamond Ring and then get on the turnbuckle and celebrate, and we go to a break. So I was saying this whole post-match, please, dear God, don't let him powerbomb MJF. Don't waste it here. Please don't let it happen. And they got out of it perfectly. I like the way this whole thing went. I think we all thought there's no way Scorpio Sky is taking this title for 1 week and dropping it. So we knew somewhere that, MJF would have to be involved, or the match would have to be, someone would have to cost Wardlow the match. So it worked out kind of the way we thought. But, man, you can just tell when Wardlow gets his hands on MJF, the building that they do that in is going to fucking explode. Everybody wants to see it, and they're sort of like quickening the pace here, but they're not going to let it happen. They're going to let this go on, I think, for a little bit. So, Kate, what'd you think of the match, the post-match, all this MJF stuff? Did it work for you?
Yes and no. I think where it's going is going to be great. I did not like how we got there very much. The match was fine. I think Wardlow did a good job of showing his inexperience in a planned way, meaning emotionally he got distracted a lot of times in this match at various points. It felt overbooked to me in that regard. I did not need Paige Van Zant making out with anyone here. This was stupid. I feel like it was too much interference, or too many distractions, rather. I also kind of have a problem with the fact that I feel like because they took so long to put it on Sky, and they took so long to put a title on a black male competitor, he couldn't just turn this over. And the story belonged with the title in some way, because they went out of their way to say that MJF's contract with Wardlow meant that any titles that he got, or any title shots that he got, belonged to MJF. So this was the easiest booking route, but I feel like this would have been more interesting if MJF had taken Wardlow's title spot before here, and this match was MJF and Wardlow cost MJF again. Or something a little bit better. And I also don't like or believe in any way, shape, or form that CM Punk just leaves the ring in the ring. I don't feel like MJF should have gotten it back. I feel like it's stupid. At the very least, CM Punk should have given it back to Wardlow. I feel like it is stupid and careless that they justify this by just saying that CM Punk left it in the ring. He's way too savvy of a veteran to let that get back in MJF's hands. I feel like that was not like a good enough justification at all.
Kate is advocating for theft. I want to point this out to all our listeners. Kate is advocating for a babyface wrestler named CM Punk to steal the property of another wrestler.
Take it from MJF? No. He should have given it back to the guy that gave it to him. Does it belong?
But Wardlow walked away. Does it belong to Wardlow? No. Does it belong to
way
CM Punk?
As
no.
Smart as CM Punk gives.
It doesn't belong. He doesn't care.
He's not going to
over.
enable the bad guy to continue to be bad by cheating. That makes no sense.
So
I did not like that at all.
So he'll steal and go to jail for theft? I think not.
I don't think he's going to jail for theft.
I just think this proves that
Burberry scarf.
I just think this proves that Chicago mid Punk is mid. He shouldn't have left that ring there, but he did. He's mid. He doesn't think.
I think mid JF should have at least tried to beat up CM Punk for the ring backstage or something. Just justify
it's theft. It's the same reason people don't keep belts that aren't theirs. It's
kept that Burberry scarf.
You don't know it's the same one. That's hard to prove, but it's very easy to prove that that's the same ring. It's very easy to say that that's the same ring.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. I think that where the feud is going to be great, but I felt like the justification of the ring was stupid. I don't think he needed it back for this segment. If you want to find a way to get it back to him, fine. But I don't understand why you go out of your way to say that your contract between Wardlow and MJF includes titles and title shots if you're not going to use that at all. Like, that just seems kind of weak to me. And I felt like the distractions were overbooked, though surprisingly the referee distractions were not the egregious ones that we're used to seeing. So I'll take that much. But do I think Wardlow and MJF is going to be one of the most highly emotionally invested feuds that we've seen get built from the ground up with two people that are homegrown talents? Fuck yeah, I do. Like, this is going to be a fantastic feud. I just feel like they booked themselves into a corner by putting the belt on Sky and then having this story unfold with it. It doesn't feel as clean as it could have or should have, because if they took that belt off of Scorpio Sky, they would have been the heels with like a great segment of them. And I'm also finding it hard to feel like I don't want to root for Scorpio Sky. I really want to root for Scorpio Sky. Like, I'm really glad he has the title and I don't want to boo him. So.
Yeah, but that's your fandom taking over. Like, he's been a prick on TV, so they've done everything they can writing wise. But
I also just hate Lambert, so I think I'm just like over it.
Here's the thing. One, you're advocating for Punk to be a thief. I don't appreciate that. He would have left the ring there. He doesn't care. It's over. It's MJF's. MJF gets to own the ring. Two, there is a story now that I could be wrong, but they've been pretty good about paying this stuff off. So I'm going to hope that my internal story is what ends up happening, which is it's meaner to Wardlow to let him have a shot and cost him the shot than to just take it from him and never even give it to him. So MJF next week can go out and be like, I could have taken it from you. That belonged to me because of the contract, but I let you have it and you lost it. You couldn't even win it. You had a chance for a belt and you couldn't do it. That is a dagger in the heart of Wardlow. That's, to me, a better story than I took it from you. And you needed it to be for something, because you just can't cost Wardlow any match. You have to cost him a match with stakes. So the TNT title is a nice belt to cost him with stakes, because the challengers do run in and out on that. So you had a way to do it. Protect Sky, and it took overwhelming force to beat Wardlow, which is what you need. And now MJF can come be like, you had your chance and you blew it, bud, just like I told you. Because very clearly in that last time when he slapped Wardlow, he said, I'll let you have it. I know you won't win it. He's going to come out and he's going to say it. You had your chance and you blew it. I let you have it and you blew it.
So why go out of your way to say what's yours is mine, baby? Like, I don't understand why you go out of your way then to
Because that was the point of being like, every time Wardlow was about to have something, MJF being like, but don't forget to be mine. Well, that's going to piss you off over time, hearing that no matter what you do, it's going to be MJF's. And then the last time, they made a very specific point of saying, I'm going to let you have this, but you're going to lose it. And what did he do? He lost it. So MJF can walk out and say, I told you, and you lost it.
This feels like some weaker justifications to me.
You want someone to be a thief, so I don't know where you're going on this one.
Why didn't he come help Wardlow?
Because
he's not a good. Yeah, he's mid.
He's not mid. You're mid.
I just went on that thought train.
I'll say this though, at least from a story perspective, to me, it sort of makes sense, right? Wardlow cost MJF a match that had some sort of stake to it, right? I mean, not a title belt, but you know, sort of being the best in the world, and it was a dog collar match, and you know, all that stuff. And now tonight, MJF pays it back, right? He cost Wardlow a match with stakes. Doesn't matter if it should have been his or not, right? So I think just from story-wise, from that standpoint, to me, it at least made sense. Everything you had a problem with, Kate, to me, I totally understand it. I just saw this as, hey, you cost me a match, now I cost you a match, you know, and you're also going to pay the price because I'm your boss. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's not egregiously illogical. My standards are just very high with them because they pay off so much stuff. So it's not like it was bad. I think it was overbooked. I feel like American Top Team got too involved, but but it's not so illogical for me that it ruins the feud. I'm extremely excited for the feud. Extremely excited for the feud.
Well, he's going to get his hands on MJF, and it's going to be magic. Those magic hands will do their work.
It will not be mid.
They did come back with a backstage segment with Jade Cargill and Smart Mark Sterling, asking who's ready to be lucky number 30. Jade says she's done waiting. She wants somebody. And they're talking about this kiss of doom or whatever they're referring to it as. I guess they're going to play
out on television.
I guess they're going to lean into that now. Sure. Let it happen. God.
Just replay it. Just give the people what they want, man.
Yeah, just show it again. They also then we go to the Hardy Boys. Well, not the Hardy Boys. I'm sorry. We can't use that term. It's just the Hardys. Maybe the Hardy Brothers at some point. Never the Hardy Boys.
The Hardy Bros.
The Hardy Bras.
Sometimes you need one. Just need a Hardy bra.
The Hardys versus Private Party. Getting to the end here. The Hardys do win by pinfall. Swanton bomb from Jeff Hardy on Isaiah Cassidy. Poor Isaiah. I hope his ribs are okay. At least Jeff got his head around. My God. I thought he was going to break his fucking neck. So post-match, Andrade and company come down to attack, but luckily Sting and Darby Allin are there to make the save. So there is no, kind of big blow up there. But guys, it's 2022, and we have the Hardy Brothers on TV wrestling as a tag team in the same gear that they wore in probably 94. Did we like this? Were we excited for the nostalgia? Schlong, let's get your take first. Oh, he's dancing.
That is every white boy ever.
No, that's this move.
Bring it around town.
I listen. I think you have to appreciate the nostalgia of it. Private Party looked really good, so I liked the match. I think it was great for them, even though they didn't pull it out. I think this isn't going to be the final form of the Hardys. Yeah, I saw your laugh at pull it out, Kate. I don't think this is going to be the final form of the Hardys. I think you're going to see Matt and Jeff get together and, form something new, which is, by the way, we forgot to mention, that's part of the reason they probably renamed 2.0 was to get away from Matt and Jeff. Yeah, two Matt and Jeffs is weird, but
we already have all these pages and cages running around. You can't transfer that to first names too.
No. So I think, especially tag teams, could you imagine if they face each other, Matt and Jeff versus Matt and Jeff?
They'd have to do it.
Yeah.
Well, they did Adam versus Adam.
They did.
True. But I think you're going to see that. But I think for the first night back, it was perfect. It'll transition out of the Andrade story, which is real nice. And then you can let those two come up with whatever crazy bullshit. And I say that in a complimentary way, but they're going to come up with something crazy. So let them come up with their own crazy thing after this feud.
Yeah, I thought this was a great first go. I think we'll eventually see a short run of the Broken Universe because they said Nero as well, which I thought was fun. Popped huge for the gear. It's just incredible the connection that Jeff Hardy has maintained with the crowd after all these years. Like, people still go absolutely nuts for him. I think there's something in the fact that his triumph has been while he's been active. Like, it seems like he is in a healthy spot now and people have been rooting from him, and that usually comes after your career. Like, usually your downfall takes you out. And Jeff has remained active in his battles. So this was great. What a dream come true for Private Party. How much fun is that? A decent enough match, but the story was like, the Hardy brothers are in the ring. Like, how special and cool is that? I'll take it any day of the week.
Yeah, a lot of fun to see this tonight. Man, and I thought Private Party was going to pull it out.
That's what she said.
There you go. Thank you. They do hype up the card for Friday night. We'll talk about it here shortly. So we're going to kind of skip over that. But we get to our main event of the night. Britt Baker. Oh, I'm sorry. It's time for the main event.
Thank you.
It's Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa for the AEW Women's World Championship inside of a steel cage. So, the intros for this were pay-per-view worthy. We had a band play for Thunder Rosa.
An all-women's mariachi band.
Right, I was going to say like a mariachi band. And then Thunder Rosa comes out, with her sombrero, her Texas flag, and some killer pants, Kate. Those mermaid pants.
They were neato.
Perfect. Chef's kiss.
Completely telegraphing what we already knew, by the way, that she was going to go over.
Sure. And then Britt Baker makes her way out. Not as big an entrance. She gets the pyro treatment. She is the champ. And she's wearing her black and white drips in honor of Scott Hall and the Outsiders. So, guys, cage match. There's a lot going on here. Britt gets cut open, having her face rubbed against the cage. They had chairs involved. Of course, the tacks had to come out. And to JR's point on commentary, why do we have thumbtacks? Somebody tell me why we have thumbtacks ringside all the time.
There's just always, they are sponsored by whoever makes them. Office Max is a huge AEW supporter at this point.
Huge.
Gordon Post in the chat also pointing out that Thunder Rosa's whole face was painted, which is different for her, which is pretty cool. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it was a good look.
Yeah, she looked great. She looked like she was going to win the championship tonight. It was good. It was nice to see.
Certainly did. We do again get the thumbtacks out. Rosa gets put in the thumbtacks. Britt Baker tries to get her in the lockjaw, but what does Rosa do to prevent the lockjaw, Ryan?
Well, because it wasn't sunk in all the way,
so
her jaw wasn't fully open, she was able to bite because it was still very close. And had it been pulled farther down, she would not have been able to bite.
Correct.
The logic probably works.
Every wrestling move.
Britt Baker tries to reverse it. That doesn't work either, as Thunder Rosa just plunges her hand repeatedly into the tacks. That made me physically...
Oh, I know.
Oh my God. I was like,
you maniac.
I was like, why are we doing this? Anyway, Thunder Rosa is able to hit the Fire Thunder driver onto the tacks to pin Britt Baker and become your new AEW Women's World Champion. She's celebrating. She's emotional. Dustin Rhodes comes out, gives her a hug and congratulates her. like, I think we all knew, guys, if it's not Texas, when are they going to do this, right?
Yeah.
So the only other thing that would have made sense would have been Pittsburgh, but Britt would lose it at home. So, I don't know. Listen, I didn't have a problem with this match. I thought it was done well. There was no interference. I thought it was really, really good. Kate, what did you think?
I thought it was great. I obviously am an emotional dork when it comes to Rosa, so this was really special moment. I think, I wish it happened at the pay-per-view, to be honest. I'm glad that we got this moment, but it felt like a pay-per-view caliber blow-off, but that hometown pop was very loud and real, so I think it was probably very special for her to be at home. Loved Britt's tribute gear. The match was great. I thought they did a really good job. They told a great story. The tacks make everything so much cringier. It was a nice callback, though, to the Lights Out match, because I think that was a pivotal moment for the women's division. As up and down as the reign has been, it certainly seems like they at least started to make an effort at that point. But yeah, I thought this was great. I'm very excited for the Thunder Rosa reign. I think it'll be fun to have a heel or a face women's champion again. Sorry. And see who her challengers are. It is nice that we can reset now and have fresh feuds, because Britt really did run through everyone and then some. So they didn't really do a good job building feuds. So the Challenger of the Month Club was getting a little empty over there. I am very glad that this moment happened. I'm glad that the match was really good and that it didn't go out on something that was like overbooked or just not clicking, because Britt has had some of those admittedly, but this was a great way to close out the show. I'm glad it was in a steel cage. I'm glad it was in Texas if it wasn't going to be on a pay-per-view. Very excited to see what this era holds, because I think Thunder Rosa is just screams champion. I think this is going to be a very special chapter of her career, and hopefully upward progress in the women's division.
Schlong, what did you think of the match?
So, a couple things. One, the match was awesome, so I'm going to establish I'm not going to try to criticize a great match. First, I don't know who makes Britt's gear, but the turnaround on it must be insane, because either she's super lucky and had that design and just pulled it out, or that's just amazing timing, because dear God, to have that ready for tonight. I mean, only on Monday did she find out. So, Thunder Rosa coming out to the mariachi band, the all-female mariachi band with there's a Thunder Rosa pop. I mean, it's her hometown, so she got it louder, but it exists everywhere. She gets some
Huge
of the
pop.
loudest reaction. Yeah. She's really second only to like the very upper tier of people. And she's there, but I'm trying to think, maybe Danielson gets higher, but like
Adam Cole
probably gets the loudest, I've heard, but like she's up there. Match was really fun. I was annoyed until I realized the reason they did it, that they had the ref bump so Aubrey could come out, so that there was a female ref to have the last moment, because it made sense that she didn't start the match, because she doesn't ref Britt Baker matches, because Britt Baker thinks that she's out to get her. So you had to have a reason for her to get in the ring and keep the consistency. So it was a nice little, because it didn't affect the match. So it was a nice little thing to let them all share that moment together. And plus it gives Britt Baker the conspiracy angle when she wants to talk about losing. I think it was Jarrett Bailey say it on Twitter that the Thumbtacks do need to go away for a little bit now, though. Like, let's take a few feuds off for them. Let them sit and cool down, and then the next, because they've already started to wear out. Now, this feud, it made sense because these two kind of define themselves by it, but like the next few, just let it go.
Yeah.
There were like 3 pay-per-views in a row where they had the tax in the mouth spot, and I know other people that were complaining about like, enough with the eating the tax spot. It's too much.
Yeah.
Like it loses its luster.
So I love that. I love that the cage was used to be a cage. Apparently that's why they went with the weapons under the cage is why they went with a smaller ring tonight, so that the cage could go outside of it. But I just like that AEW is like, no, well, point of a cage match is to stay in the cage, not to. And I like that Britt tried to get out. She wasn't going to win, but she didn't want to be there. So I really enjoyed
you
that.
could retain by DQ in that way.
Yeah.
So it made sense.
Yeah, it was perfect. So I really enjoyed this, and Thunder Rosa deserved it. I'm so excited to see what's next. This was a long time coming. With Kate, it felt like it should have happened at the pay-per-view, but at the same point, you would not have gotten the same reaction there that you got here. So I get why they wanted it here. They should have done something then to get you. This shouldn't have been a last-minute change. There should have been plotted out a little bit better, but this was amazing. All the small things they did were perfect.
I love Dustin coming in too. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. What a sweet moment that was.
He's apparently like the biggest influence, they say, on the women's division. Like they all rant and rave about him, how much he looks out for him. And I think I was watching or reading, I don't know if I was reading or watching something Thunder Rosa was in, where she said like he's her only trainer right now. Like he's the one who yells at her to keep going, go harder, do this, do that. Like, so that's a very sweet moment. He's pretty critical to the women's division, which has been improving. So really, he's had a good impact. I guess whenever he decided to finally take that over, not saying he's booking it, but like have more influence. These two clearly have chemistry, so it goes to show that the reason that their Revolution match wasn't that great was because of the last minute changing and them not knowing how to get from A to B or A to C without B. Like they didn't have the plot. So this was perfect. I really enjoyed it. And now and the new belt makes it look better. So
such better belt.
It is a great belt, and nobody more deserving that I could think of than Thunder Rosa to carry the torch from here on out. They did go right up to the end with this, and I think even there were points at the end of this match where Aubrey was like, "Get in the ring, like we gotta go home." So what a fun match. I think their number one is going to be the unsanctioned match, just for what that was. And then they even showed clips of that, or I'm sorry, not the unsanctioned, the lights out match. They showed clips too of that, and I totally forgot because it seemed like so long ago. There was just the wrestlers in the crowd. So they did that in front of nobody.
Oh God, wow.
Just crazy. So guys, that is the end of Dynamite, but they did mention that Friday night Rampage, we will get Darby Allin versus The Butcher, Layla Hirsch versus Red Velvet. The friends now become enemies. Bear Country.
Oh,
and, some little flame guy, Fuego del Sol, is going to go against the House of Black. So sorry, Fuego, you're going to stay a loser. And then
you're gonna die.
And then Keith Lee is going to be fighting Max Caster. Now that is the Friday night Rampage. They also did make mention, obviously, if you're following college basketball, this is March Madness. So it will be 11:30 Eastern or immediately following the basketball game, depending on, I guess, what happens first.
I hope it's the fastest basketball game in the world as somebody that does a live post show. Starting at 12:30.
Oh my God, are you really doing it at 12:30? Because they pushed me. Oh my goodness.
And I think we're doing one stream. We were going to split that and SmackDown up, but I was like, fuck it.
Yeah, let's just do it. So Rampage Friday night will be late, but set your DVRs if you can't watch it live.
What's up?
So guys, only a couple things, some news and notes. I think it came out sort of late last week after we did our show that, obviously the Briscoe brothers have some history. In 2013, Jay Briscoe sent out a tweet about gay marriage. Ring of Honor sort of like distanced themselves, and the controversy kind of went away. But there was a recent report that indicated a person of influence at Warner Media now basically instructed Tony Khan to nix his plans to sign the Briscoes to AEW because of the past tweets that did go out. There was a podcast, the Battleground podcast, part of the Fight Club Network, where they were kind of talking about this, and Jay said, I put out a tweet 9 years ago, dumbest, immature, obnoxious shit I've ever done. blah blah blah. So they're doing their rounds of apologizing, and they started on that podcast. So so we'll see what happens. I mean, I would think they have to show up at the Ring of Honor event, right? They have the belts, so they probably have to defend those belts.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough now because they're owned by AEW. I would
Right.
think a non-televised event, they would at least let them drop them there. I would hope. But we're not going to be seeing FTR and the Briscoes on television, I don't think. I don't know if ROH will have the same rules for the Briscoes even to be there then, you know? And
Right.
while it is that one homophobic tweet that they did apologize for, there is also imagery of them with Confederate flags and stuff out there. So I think it is like they might have isolated this one thing, but there are other things that I think a network television executive would consider problematic that like probably wasn't as bad and probably would be considered okay with a character 15 years ago, maybe. I let everybody draw their own lines, but to me, and I said this before, like it does feel hypocritical as a woman that like signing Jay Lethal was all right, but this is not. Like that, it feels like a double
Right.
standard. I'm not even saying which side of that double standard they should be on, but I'm saying it feels like a double standard.
No, I agree with you there. Schlong, anything to add to the Briscoe situation?
Not really. I mean, it's not. It's not on me to forgive them because I'm not part of the community that they would have been hurting. That being said,
What
that being
happened?
said, I don't know. I don't know what it is, and I can't find it. Oh, it's a bug.
Ew.
Yum.
Ew.
Eat it. It's protein, bro.
It's a stink
Gross.
bug. No, thank you. Where the fuck are they coming from? Anyway,
They're
What'd
coming
you say?
from inside the house.
This is like the third one I found today. I don't know where they're coming from.
Warm weather,
But-
baby.
Yeah, but they like to go outside for the warm weather.
Yeah.
But
You're
anyway,
just gross.
I am gross. They
Briscoes.
It's not me to forgive them. It's up to whoever. I do think there is some discussion on like what apologies we accept, what apologies we don't accept, how sincere. Some people didn't like that they referenced their religion in the apology. Some people did. I actually didn't mind that part because it actually shows growth that you're like trying to keep your faith, but these beliefs in different places. But again, I'm not the one affected by this. So it's real easy for me to sit here and say like, oh, I forgive him or I don't. And my life doesn't change. What they say, if they influence people to feel one way or another, it won't hurt me. So I think it's on, not on, it's for the community that they affect to whether they want to or not. That being said, the double standard is important. We need to acknowledge it. And if there's a reason why someone like Jay Lethal is allowed and they're not, that should be given. And I'm not saying there is, because right now it does appear to be just pure double standard, which needs to be addressed.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the Briscoes because they do have those Ring of Honor titles, so they're going to have to drop them or relinquish them at some point. But honestly, guys, I didn't really have anything else. Either you guys have any news or notes you'd like to drop?
No, actually. A quieter week this week.
Well, then you know what that means. We're going home. Kate, why don't you tell the people where you're going to be?
Oh man, you can find me on Friday so late, technically Saturday at 12:30. Sean is out this week because he had dental surgery, but Jarrett Bailey is sitting in. Catch us at 12:30 reviewing SmackDown and AEW Rampage on Fight Club YouTube channel. You can also catch me on Tuesdays doing Sour Graphs after the abomination that is NXT 2.0 with Alice Pulowski, also on Fight Club. And earlier today, I did Pillar to Post on Fightful, normally on Fightful Overbooked, but this week on the regular Fightful YouTube channel, which was our version of Around the Horn. It was super fun. Go check it out. And then, of course, every Wednesday that I don't have COVID or my face ripped off by my dog, I'm here with my Mark Order pals.
Face ripped off by your dog. What are you talking
I
about?
mean,
You got lubies.
What I got, my lubies, my boobs on my lips.
There you go.
There you go.
Schlong, what do you got to tell the people about?
Every Monday and Tuesday, you can find me live tweeting Dark and Elevation from Mark Order Pod's Twitter account, which is at Mark Order Pod. The rest of the time, you can find me there still just bullshitting. That's about all I do. And then find me here on Wednesdays. So, other than that, so Schlong and good night.
Well, just a reminder to everybody, hit up our socials, hit that link tree, request your free stickers. All you got to do is give us your name, your mailing address, and the country you live in, and we will send out these awesome, brand new, free Mark Order Podcast stickers. So like I said before, you just give us your address. I'll take care of the rest. We'll send them anywhere in the world. So just submit your name and address, and we'll go from there.
I'm gonna need Ryan to have 2 round ones. Or actually, Matt takes his shirt off all the time.
Yes.
We should have Matt.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're not going to be on my nipples, so give that to Matt.
Yeah, Matt will actually do it. I was making a joke, but Matt will really do it.
He will do it. He will. We could put one of each on his nipples and be like, request these stickers at blah, 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 blah.
And he could be laying like Shawn Michaels, but still have his pants on.
Yeah. Yeah. Not like the Peter Steele Playgirl fucking centerfold. Peter Steele, rest in peace. Typo negative.
R.I.P.
Well, I don't have anything else going on either. You could just find me here Wednesday nights on the Mark Order Podcast. Follow me on Twitter at AntMoney or Instagram at AntMoney.
Hey, I'm Matt. I'm too good to show up on Wednesday nights, but you could catch me on Mondays at the Shining Wizards Podcast. Matt.
Man, I didn't realize Matt showed up.
Boy, Matt came in late.
He did.
Yeah.
Blitz. Cameo.
I don't know why we're fucking plugging Matt. He doesn't even bother to show up, but Kate's right. Monday night, Shining Wizards Podcast. They have a lot of fun over there. And if you hit up their socials, they have a link to their Discord server. Why don't you jump in if you're a wrestling fan? It's a lot of fun. We have channels about all wrestling, music, movies, Marvel Universe, comic books, whatever, regular books, DDP yoga. Jump in. As long as you're fun and you like to chat with other fans, you'll have a good time. If not, you're gonna have a bad time.
If you pizza when you're supposed to French fry, you're not gonna have a good time.
That's right. You're pizzaing when you should French fry. So, for the Holy Triumvirate, I'm AntMoney. Thanks for joining us tonight. Kate, Ryan, a lot of fun. Thanks for coming in here and chatting tonight.
Thank you, Father and Son.
Well, I can only be one.
Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
There you go. Oh my goodness. See what she did there, Ryan? She's like, I'm going to be the most important one. She's like everywhere at once.
That's me.
I'm the one people pray to, so what the hell?
Well, I guess. All right, folks. Catch us here next week. Maybe we're going to be a fearsome foursome again. We'll see what happens. But episode 52 next week, I guess that's a milestone. It's been a year worth of episodes. So see what happens next week here on the Mark Order Podcast.
This concludes the Mark Order Podcast. We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming. Join the Mark Order.